From around the world and across Ghana's 16 regions, this is the AM show on Joy News. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and a gentle reminder that it's just 39 days more to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Welcome to the AM show. Now, this morning, by the end of this 4-hour package, you'd have a comprehensive understanding of where we stand as a nation. First, we'll serve you the AM news, the latest updates on everything happening in and around the country. And then we'll sit with our guests for a news review segment where we analyze the news stories and how it resonates with you and I, in the newspapers, I mean. And then right after that, we'll bring you AM Sports, and Muftan Abila Abdullahi will be doing that. And then we get into our big stories. Now, this morning, we're taking a look at Social Security, or the pensions manifestos. We know that Social Security has recently become a major policy debate in most political jurisdictions. You can cite the US presidential elections 2024, Germany federal elections 2025, France, and many others. Ghana is not excluded. And so the issues around pensions have often led to rising tensions between labor and government. And so with the current happenings concerning Social Security policy, we will take a comprehensive look at the pension policy manifesto of the two major political parties. I'm talking about the NDC and the NPP, which is no doubt crucial to the voting decisions of working Ghanaians and retirees. You want to join us on all conversations we have, especially this one. Don't forget that right after the news, we'll bring you news review with Wisdom Dogbe and Kojo Poku. Kojo Poku is energy analyst and Wisdom is financial analyst. You want to stay with us? You're very welcome to the AM show. Let's start now with the AM news. It's a pleasure to have you here. This is the AM News. Details now. Now, brace for more power outages because my minority says the power situation will worsen this week as Gridco continues to shed load. Minority spokesperson on energy, John Jinapor, says President must intervene to convince Asogli to come back soon to the stream.
Well, our checks, incontrovertible, confirms that Gridco has been shedding load over the past 1 week. And that is going to get worse from today. There are two main reasons. And like Gridco put it, the first challenge is the issue of fuel. Because consumption is increased, the gas that we bequeath to this government is unable to meet the gas supply needs. And so government has been procuring light crude oil at a cost of about $40 million every month. But because of the current financial situation, government is unable to support the power sector players to procure light crude oil. And so as we speak, there is shortage of light crude oil. So even when the plants are available, because of inadequate fuel, they are unable to generate enough power to meet domestic needs. Two is that Asogli has also decided to shut down its plants, more than 500 megawatts. And so that creates a huge shortfall. And so the combined effect of these two unfortunate situations has led to a significant reduction in the supply of power, culminating in what we call doomsday or load shedding. And this has been ongoing for about 1 week. There is a solution, and the solution is in two folds. Firstly, the president must intervene and plead with Asogli to turn back their power plant. But that can only be done if some significant payment is made to Asogli. Because as it stands, they have indicated that they cannot operate because of financial difficulty. Secondly, government must find some money so they can procure some light crude oil. But going forward, it means that the next government must ensure that we really accomplish the gas to power era that we all envisage. Without that solution, we'll keep having these fuel challenges and we'll keep having this load shedding that we are experiencing intermittently. And for me, that is where we ought to be focusing. This government has failed to address the challenges, the situation and the problems exacerbated. Now we are in load shedding, even though they don't want to that they are shedding load. The truth is that the sector is crumbling. The debt keeps mounting. All the LCs have been called. All the guarantees called. And so technically, Ghana is in default. And at this stage, my worry is that the energy sector is on the verge of collapse.
Now, the Education Ministry has announced the release of the 2024 school placement. Details have been captured in a statement, which I'll read to you in a bit. The statement is coming from the Ministry of Education, and it reads, release of 2024 school placement. The Ministry of Education announces to students, parents, and the general public that the 2024 computerized school selection and placement system for senior high schools and technical and vocational education and training institutions is live. Out of the 563,339 results received from WAEC, 553,155 candidates qualified to be placed. A total of 447,698, that makes 80.93% of qualified candidates have automatically been placed in one of their choices. However, 104,918 qualified candidates could not be matched to any of their choices. Out of the number is just about 73,390, which makes 13.27% of qualified candidates who've been placed in schools similar to those they selected. And such students are at liberty to accept or reject the offer. You can grab a copy of this statement for further details on all our social media platforms and myjoyonline.com. In other stories, former Majority Leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, is confident the New Patriotic Party will secure victory in the upcoming elections, drawing from recent surveys conducted by credible stakeholders committed to the nation's progress and integrity and free from any political influence. Mr. Mensah-Bonsu stressed that if the elections had been held in mid-2023, the National Democratic Congress would have had a clear upper hand. But recent data indicate a noticeable shift in favor of the NPP. He spoke in an interview with Evans Mensah on PM Express.
Drawing my inspiration from facts and figures available to me.
What facts and figures are these?
I know. I've seen the surveys that have been done, the researches that have been done, and I'm talking to the figures that I'm seeing.
Yeah, but
the point is,
your own surveys, are they credible?
No. It's not my own service. It's the party's own service.
So what surveys are these?
It's coming from, interested parties, major stakeholders in the fortunes of Ghana. And I've seen the figures. Be? I've seen the figures. And look, if elections had held last year, before the holding of our primaries, it would have been, a no contest for the NDC.
Complete wipeout.
No contest for the NDC. That's mid-2023. Even until we elected our flag bearer, the kind of divisiveness and the language that was being employed by some people, some of whom were even in the race, really, they were not filtering their statements. And it was really doing some considerable, causing some internal bleeding in the party. So maybe by the close of even last year, if elections had held, the NDC would have really had a very heavy margin of victory. I've seen the figures first quarter this year, and I saw that the lead of the principal person for the NDC has been plummeting. June, it comes down. September, it's down. Look, this election is going to be determined by what happens the next 1 month or 1.5 months ahead of us. I'm telling you. And whereas Baumia is coming out with sharp solutions, bold solutions, our compatriot, he cannot reinvent himself.
Which figures is this? Because I've seen, you talk about independent, neutral parties, of course, watching on and doing their own polling. But I've seen Fitch predict that NDC will win this. I've seen the Economic Intelligence Unit report. So where are you getting these figures from?
When was it done?
I mean, the last one,
the
Fitch one was in the last couple of months.
When was it done?
In the last couple of months. The
It
Fitch
was
one,
released,
I think, if I'm
it
not
was
mistaken,
released about a month ago. When was the survey itself done? That's what you should be speaking to.
When was your survey done?
Oh, are you responding to my question with another question?
No, I saw the results a month ago. You saying, of course, it was collected
I'm asking you
before that, which is fair.
When was it done?
I can't tell you that as a speaker.
Precisely.
But I've mentioned my sources that say that you are losing the election. You say you were winning.
Yes.
And what's your source?
And I don't need to disclose my source to you.
But you must. I told you
that I've given you a hint that it's made up of interested parties, major stakeholders in the affairs of Ghana. Independent, objective, analysis.
You can watch the full interview on all our social media platforms, especially on YouTube. Now, moving on, the Ghana Statistical Service has initiated the 8th Ghana Living Standard Survey. The Ghana Living Standard Survey is a national representative household survey that provides statistics on the welfare and living conditions of individuals and households in Ghana. It is also known as the GLSS-8, and it will, among other indicators, measure poverty nationwide. The one-year survey will assess children's literacy and numeracy skills in any language. There's more in this report.
The Ghana Statistical Service is set to conduct the 8th round of the Ghana Living Standard Survey, GLSS-8, which will focus on learning poverty. The 2021 Population and Housing Census indicated that 30.2% of the population 6 years and older were not literate in any language, highlighting the need for interventions to reduce illiteracy. Learning poverty is the inability of children to read and understand a simple text by age 10. Speaking at the closing ceremony for the training of field officers, Mrs. Abena Asamoah Osei Akutu, Chief Statistician and Project Coordinator, shared the objectives of the GLSS-8.
The learning poverty is finding out children 10 years who are able to read and understand a text that has been prescribed for that age level. And they are able to read and understand. So what we did was to engage the Ministry of Education and NACA as mentioned, and we prepared test items for these children. And here we concentrated on ages 4 to 17 years. We want to find out and assess them on literacy levels as well as numeracy levels. So the learning poverty will help us report globally on how the country fares on that indicator. But generally, we are going to get all other indicators related to education, especially SDG 4.1.1, A, B, and C.
GLSS-8 is a World Bank and Government of Ghana project that will span a period of 12 months from 31st October 2024 to October 2025. According to Dr. Owusu Keja, the survey would cover around 1,000 clusters reaching over 25,000 households across the country.
So this is going to be a one-year project. As we indicated, by 31st October, we expect all field officers to be in their areas of assignment. And the next day, which is 1st November, all of us are starting interviewing. And we are going to do this throughout 2024 and 2025 until October thereabout. And so, as I indicated in my earlier submission, each selected household will be visited about 5 times. However, we're going to be in that community for 35 days. And so it is because there are a whole lot of indicators that we are measuring, and this interviewing definitely cannot take just a day or a few days. And that's why, in order not to burden or overburden the respondents, we are spreading the number of questions that we are asking for the 35 days.
The national coordinator in charge of learning assessment at the Ministry of Education, Clement Osei Entry, emphasized the ministry's dedication to applying recent surveys to strengthen educational policies.
The key thing of these projects is the learning assessment, the conduct of learning assessment, which is for us to estimate the extent of learning poverty in Ghana. The World Bank is saying that by 2010, we want to find out the percent of learners who are in Ghana who can read and write with understanding. It's very important that whatever the children read, they must have an understanding of it. And so the assessment is to estimate the proficiency levels of learners who are attaining functional literacy skills and functional numeracy skills in Ghana. This project in itself is very, very important to us as Ministry of Education. We want to know whether there are disparity when it comes to gender disparity in terms of literacy and numeracy skills.
In addition to providing data on learning poverty, the GLSS 8 will also provide and generate statistics for the estimation of monetary and non-monetary poverty. For Joy Business, my name is Eric Asante.
Moving on, the National Museum of India has a collection of over 60,000 different disciplines of arts collected from various parts of the country. Some of the objects are as old as 9,000 years old. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam, who is part of 30 journalists drawn from 9 countries from West and Central Africa by the government of India, has more in this report.
Day 2 of my visit to India took me to the National Museum of India. Here, there are over 60,000 collections of all fields of arts that were taken from different parts of the country. According to a volunteer guide of the museum, Pradashai, for one to see each of the objects in a minute, you will require 2 years, 9 months, and 23 days.
Actually, an exhibition of Indian antiquities was held in London in 1947-48, and that was the time when India just got independence, you know. And then these artifacts were basically collected from the different parts of the country, and in 1949 they all were brought back to the country and they were displayed at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. And over there we found lot many visitors at that place. Finally, we decided to have our own museum. So it all started at that point of time. We finished the building in 1960. So we are into this museum since 1960. As far as the collection of objects goes at this place, we have collection from all spheres of art. It could be sculptures, it could be in, say, terracotta, stones, metals. We have the coins, we have the paintings, you have the arms, the armor, the scintillation. You name anything and you have all objects of all disciplines of art. Right? And if you go by the number, the collection in our museum is somewhere around 260,000, you know. And if you take 1 minute to see one object, we require 2 years, 9 months and 23 days to see the museum.
Some of the objects at the museum are over 9,000 years. This human skeleton, for example, is over 6,000 years.
The earliest object in our collection happens to be from the Stone Age. The Stone Age may be specifically the stone tools. The tools could be, probably they are from the Paleolithic age and the Mesolithic age. That is, they are around 2 lakh years old. As far as the gallery goes, the important gallery starts from the Harappan civilization. And the if you go by the dates, you know, that is around 5,000 years old. But the recent excavation at a place called Kunal in Haryana, that suggests that the civilization could go back to 7th millennium BC. That is somewhere around 9,000 years old civilization.
The museum, on daily basis, attracts waves of visitors from all walks of life, including pupils from slew of schools in the country.
The museum is very big. The footfall, you can see a lot of students here. It has around a footfall around 5,000 persons every day. If you go by the visitors, we have visitors from every age group, starting from the small kids you can see here to the senior citizens. The gallery has, in the ground floor, the gallery has been arranged in the chronological order, ascending period of time periods. So we start from Harappa, we move on to the late medieval, that is 15th century. And a lot of galleries thereafter have a specific theme, you know, like the decorative art gallery, the wood carving gallery, the numismatics, the textiles, We have the Tanjore painting, the Central Asian Gallery. We have the Vema, that's a museum is there. We got a Buddha museum here. So we have the galleries here covers all disciplines of art.
Despite the huge numbers recorded at the museum, Papa Dasha says India doesn't benefit much economical from it, but offers the people opportunity to learn their culture and tradition.
The important role of museum is to make you understand your culture, your traditions, to learn about that, and not limited to your place, to the other countries also. And in fact, if you saw that in Indus Valley, we saw the Mesopotamian seal also, Gilgamesh. That basically suggests like movement from one place to another. So we learn a lot from, like you have come from other country. You will take a lot of things from our place, maybe you inculcated it there, we learn a lot from there, we put it at this place. So museum plays a very important role in your learning, and particularly if you look at the kids, they learn better than others, because they read and then they see the objects, So museum is important for your culture, for your traditions, for other cultures, for the other traditions. As far as economy goes, the charges, if you look at it, is 20 rupees for a person, which is negligible. It does not even cover your operational costs, So economy is never a purpose of a museum,
From the National Museum of India, this is Rafiq Salam reporting for Joy News.
Now, for the first time in 4 years, the Ashanti region's hopes for the National Science and Maths Quiz glory has been dashed. The region, which has proven to be an indomitable force over the years, suffered an unexpected setback this year, with none of its 29 participating schools making a grand finale appearance. My colleague Jacqueline Asamoah has the breakdown on the intense battles that led to this moment.
The journey began with high hopes as 29 Ashanti schools threw in their hat in the ring for this year's National Science and Maths Quiz. 8 of these schools were seeded, but as the dust settled, it became clear that Ashanti star power would face some heavy challenges. The heartbreak began when 5-time champions Prempeh College had to take a bow after suffering a defeat to Infantsipim School. 2-time champions with the most final appearances, Opokuwari School, bowed out after a tough clash with Ghana National College, both at the quarter-final stage.
We are going to show Opokuwari School that when you are going to Kumasi, when you get to Yamransa, you turn left. And so we have shown them the road to Santasi. We gave their ladies the same point margin of 21 points, and today we have given their husbands also a 1-point margin.
I said at the end, we'll say what? Let's accept these words in French. At this point, for Prempeh College, c'est fini.
Then there was Osei-Tutu Senior High School, who defied the odds to reach the semi-finals for the first time. Despite their fierce determination, they were edged out by Infantsipim School, putting an end to the Ashanti region's run.
Bayern versus Barcelona. I hope you check the scoreline.
I checked the scoreline.
Yesterday, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. I hope you check the scoreline. Uti, today we are going to beat Presec and Buche.
Schools from the region over the last 4 years proved to be a force to reckon with, but from an initial lineup of 29 schools, 8 of them seeded, only 4 of the schools have a safe spot in the next edition. The region is, however, gearing up to come back stronger in the next edition to claim their glory as the powerhouse in the national competition. For Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Asamoah.
And we'll be bringing you all the updates in the build-up to the grand finale. You want to stay tuned to this channel for all the details on the National Science and Maths Quiz. And the National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with GOIL PLC and supported by Pepsodent, UPay, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana and Bettermalt. And the broadcast of the 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz on the Joy News channel is supported by NASCO, Vitamilk, Virtual Security Africa, Ace Medical Insurance, Build Financial Technologies, DBS Roofing, Syntex Tanks, Family Health Medical College, Chopbox Technologies and Action Secondary Technical, DPS Pipes, Waka Now and Coronation Insurance. Coming up next is Business Updates with Benjamin Akakpo.
Welcome to Business. Let's get right down to it. An independent power producer, Sunona Sogli, has described government's position on debt owed the company as dishonest. The Minister for Finance, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, over the weekend accused Sunona Sogli of acting in bad faith after the power company shut down its plant due to a $259 million debt. Spokesperson for Sunona Sogli, Elikplim Apetogbo, said the Finance Ministry had not been candid in its negotiations to restructure the debt.
In the first place, let me say that is absolute dishonesty on the part of our Finance Minister. There has been so much dishonesty in the whole process on his part. He has maintained a very haughty and condescending character in the whole process, which is not good for a public officer, particularly in the office of a finance minister. I'm not aware when we have agreed to sign restructuring terms with anyone. We are still negotiating. No one goes into a negotiation to lose. It is always a win-win affair. And he has always maintained a position that if you will not accept this, I'm not going to pay you. That is a very disappointing character of a public office holder like him.
Now, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana has reiterated its disapproval of the introduction of new digital machines for fixing excise tax stamps on their products by the Ghana Revenue Authority. According to the association's chairman, John Awini, it will be a disincentive to members of the association and other manufacturing firms to assume the cost of procuring the said machines. His reaction comes on the back of renewed calls by the Association of Ghana Industries for the implementation of the use of digital stamp machines.
The AGI should not be calling for the introduction of new digital tax stamp machines at a time when businesses are grappling with serious forex losses and the rising cost of doing businesses. Many businesses' focus right now is how to survive the difficult times, most especially as the city continues to depreciate, and also how to be able to get working capital to continue their businesses, most especially when interest rates are very, very high. Indeed, the GRA have the right to introduce new machines at any time to enhance their revenue collection. But it should not be done at the expense of the consumer. It should not be done at the expense of the manufacturer. Because ECG, for instance, keeps on introducing new machines from time to time, but they don't do it at the expense of the consumer. If GRA is ready to bear the cost of these new digital tax stamp machines, or the government is ready to bear the cost of the new digital tax stamp machines and their accessories, then the members of the Food and Beverage Association will also be ready to bear that. But at the time things are really very hard and the rate of turnover, sales turnover is very down, and the issues of losses due to the depreciation of the city, I don't think that we should be calling for introduction of new machines at this point in time.
Well, that's our recap of business. But before I go, here are our currency market statistics for today. All business is done and dusted. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
you, Benjamin, and that's a wrap for the AM News on the AM Show. You want to stay with us because, of course, you know the conversations begin now. Kojo Poku is energy analyst and Wisdom Dogbe is a financial analyst. They both join us to review the newspapers. We're back in a bit.
Welcome back. Time now for the news review. But before I introduce our guests, you know how we do it on Tuesday morning. Let me tell you a bit about the Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind. They have also assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine led by Dr. Yawosafo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. Here's what they're offering. General medical services, as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. Additionally, they also have a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays and scans, a 24-hour pharmacy as well to ensure that you always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. They're bringing to you the most powerful medicine of all as well. Do you know? Simple human kindness and empathy. And that's why they take pride in holding themselves to the highest attainable standards. They accept all forms of payment, making it easy for you. So if you have private health insurance, you can actually take advantage of their systems as well. Locate Medicas Hospital at the number 10 Kinto Road near Ashaleboche School Junction. You can reach them on 0501 477 340, 0501 477 340, or reach them on social media at MedicasGH, MEDICASGH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. And hopefully, this is a show of healing for you, gives you some therapy. Introducing our guests for the morning, we have Kojo Poku, he's an energy analyst. We also have Wisdom Dogbe, a financial analyst. Both of them joining the conversation this morning. One with a yellow background that reminds me of the Afafranto movement, though he's not there. And the other one with a blurred background, and I don't know what he's. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am well. I hope you are too.
I'm very well. A beautiful morning. What else can we wish for than to be here to tell the good people of Ghana about the good things that's happening in our lives.
All right. So let's get right down to it. There's a little issue I'll get into before the papers. But first, let's hear from you, gentlemen. Please, bite-sized, straight to the point. Kojo, starting with you. Your thoughts for us this morning?
My thought is I wish everybody a happy morning, a happy day. Today is a very beautiful day. I hope the weather permits. The flag bearer of the new patriotic party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is going to hit the streets of Accra. Today is what we term the market day. We are basically going into like 5 markets today around Accra, and we are going to do our usual favorite campaign, which is the meet and greet. The good people of Accra, the market women, our brothers and sisters in the commercial sector would see the man, the bold vision man, who's going to come in. And, you know, the funny thing, people think that, oh, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been vice president for 8 years, been running mate for 8 years. People know him. You'll be amazed the number of people that are happy to just see him for the first time in person. And appreciate the fact that this is the gentleman that's going to be our next president come January 7th, 2025. So Accra is going to turn blue today.
Thank you for those thoughts. Wisdom Dogbe, quick thoughts as well.
Ben, good morning to your viewers. I heard that the World Bank has given Ghana $250 million in credit facility, you know, to improve our energy production and supply. And, you know, whenever we see Ghana is going through an energy crisis currently, my brothers and sisters in our current government like to say that there is no energy crisis in the nation. Yet you have Suno Nasogli and the other independent power producers being owed significantly by ECG. There is still doom so going on at different parts of the country. So I think that we should accept that there are challenges. That only shows that we know the issues exist and we are willing to solve these issues through common sense approaches. Now, on the 250 million itself, right, I hope our leaders take a strategic and well-structured approach in the disbursement to ensure that the investment truly leads to energy supply quality in the nation. I will not be surprised if mismanagement contributed to ECG's current challenges, but we can't continue running our state institutions to the ground and then run to the World Bank to take big loans all the time. These are loans that we have to pay back. It's not free money. We can't run on such a business model. We need to prioritize programs that improve energy efficiency and production and distribution.
Right.
We need to prioritize these issues, especially when it comes to energy infrastructure development. Look, I agree that it may not be possible to break the 8, especially during this election cycle.
Right.
But it is still possible to end doom so once and for all.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to crave your indulgence, gentlemen, on 2 quick points. And one has to do with, especially as Kojopoku mentions that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President, His Excellency, is hitting Accra, the streets of Accra today. The latest polls by Global Info Analytics over the last 2 weeks, the first recently, showed that John Dramani Mahama was polling about 51.1% of the votes, with 40.6% going to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But in the latest one, we see the NDC's candidate scoring 53.2% and a drop for the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, at 40%, so 0.6% gone. I don't know what your reflections are on that, but I also want you to weave into that latest visa restriction policy on undermining democracy in Ghana. I'm sure both of you have seen it. If you've not, I could just give you a few details about it. But they're basically saying that anybody in Ghana who sort of does anything to undermine Ghana's democracy will be barred from entering the United States, and it takes effect from now, ahead of the elections, literally. It makes mention of some interesting things. It says, the visa restriction policy, it goes on, but it says to implement visa restrictions for individuals believed to be responsible for or complicit in undermining democracy in Ghana, including through the manipulation or rigging of the electoral process, the use of violence to intimidate, coerce, or prevent people from exercising their rights to freedom of association and peaceful assembly, the use of measures designed to intimidate, coerce, or prevent political party representatives, voters. It goes on and on. Or engaging in any other activity designed to improperly influence the conduct or outcome of an election. Any quick reflections on this? I'll start with you this time. Wisdom.
But as far as the polls are concerned, right, I don't think anybody should be surprised at all. I am not surprised. I think that considering the economic conditions in the country, a lot of people are going to vote with their stomachs, right? Now, on the visa restriction item, I think that this is indeed commendable that the U.S. is taking the step to ban visas for anyone who decides to engage in any activities that undermines Ghana's democracy. Like them or not, the U.S. is best when it comes to safeguarding democracy. Even though we have a presidential candidate here in the U.S. who has shown time and time again that he's not a fan of democracy. He's called Donald Trump. And he may likely win this election and return to the White House again. But
well, some people will disagree with you, but go ahead.
Look, but that's not the focus of my point. Let me get back on topic. I think that this is a move by the U.S. that will promote accountability.
Okay.
What the U.S. is saying is that if you engage in any unlawful acts or even unduly pressure the EC to become your political wing to undermine our democracy, they will do their best to hold you accountable. You will be restricted from getting a U.S. visa and getting into the country.
All right. Thank you for those thoughts. Kojo, some people have said that other countries should should do the same thing, though I feel, in a way, when countries are able to do this, it also talks about how sovereign you really you really are. But what are your thoughts?
It's much ado about nothing. I'd rather not comment on that because, look, we are all Ghanaians. We live in Ghana happily. What do we care about the US visa, really, if we are doing our democratic dispensation? It's much ado about nothing. Let's leave that to the side and concentrate on the most important thing. Look, let me talk about this thing where wisdom wants to make it look like there is a crisis. What crisis? Let me give you a definition of energy crisis.
Are you talking of the energy thing? Is it the energy thing?
Yes, when he now went into and said there's an energy crisis in Ghana. And yesterday, a reporter from Joy News called me and said, oh, Mr. Poku, can we interview you on the power crisis? Please, there are no crises in Ghana. There is no crisis in Ghana. Yes, challenges, I agree. Crisis, no. Definition of crisis is a time of intense difficulty and danger. Where is the intense difficulty and danger?
Exactly.
Wisdom, let him make his point. Let him make his point.
Let me make my point, please. As at last week, Friday, I was in Kumasi, and I did see pockets of outages in Kumasi. And because we've kept everybody's light on so well, the minute I saw pockets of light, outages, I started making my calls to find out what was going on. Then I realized that, okay, ENI, one of the companies that gives us the gas, went into maintenance. And when they came back from maintenance, the amount of volumes that they normally give us is not what they are giving.
I see.
So that has also come to the attention of the government. And since Friday, because it was a weekend, since Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yesterday, there was an intense meeting to find out from ENI why their gas...
Okay, so Kojo, for the sake of time, so what is the thrust of it? And I want you to also... You're talking about Kumasi in Accra.
Lights are going... I want to let Ghanaians understand, let not anybody tell them about crisis. So I'm just trying to educate and give the information.
Okay, how about here in Accra?
Let me finish, Ben. People think
Okay, you go ahead.
Are you saying that Ghanaians don't need information?
No, when you talk, go straight to the point. Sometimes you go on and you're not making your point. That's my problem.
No, I am making my point. I'm giving Ghanaians the information why they've seen some pockets of outages.
So ENI, there's a problem with ENI. Is that it?
My brother, the information I'm giving, you are a Ghanaian, so it's partly for you. But people listening also want to hear it. So if you can let me make my point.
Okay,
people keep saying that it's indebted to Sonia Asogli. It is not indebted to Sonia Asogli. Asogli has shut down, we know. But Asogli has been shut down for 2 weeks. And the lights are on. So as of yesterday, the problem is being resolved. And I'm sure between now, from today, the volumes will come back in the pipeline from ENI. And people's lives will be restored. We want to apologize to anybody who's been affected with this couple of days of pockets of outages. The second point that we don't make that I need to make a point on is the polls. Look,
before you get to the polls briefly, the Accra situation as well. I don't know whether you've been in and out of Accra, but for a month and a half at least, in many places in Accra, my place, I get power outages usually about twice a week. I have people from the Achimota area, from Spintex, from, what's the name of this place? This lady's constituency. Dome, Kwabenya, and other places always saying every week there are about 2 or 3 power outages. In some places,
okay, so
in fact, hold for me, relax. Tantra Hills, yesterday, power outage. The Accra situation, what is happening here?
Well, that's the same thing I told you. So you will not listen to what I was saying. You're interjecting and now asking what's happening in Accra.
Because you were specifying Kumasi.
Let me land, my brother. You asked the question. Let me answer. Because the ENI gas volumes are low from Friday coming in. You are saying a month. If somebody's been having outages from a month back, the best thing they should do, contact ECG and find out what's happening in their area. It's as simple as that. But let me get into the posted. Look. If NDC is dreaming, if they're going to be paying Musa Dankwa to tell them that NPP will get 40%, in 92, when Rawlings got 178 seats, and everybody had their hand tied behind their back because Rawlings basically took over the 92 election, and the NPP got 32%. You are telling me that NPP is going to do only 8% better than the 92 election? Please, you guys are dreaming. Anybody who takes Musa Dankwa serious in this country will just basically have a diarrhea on the 8th of December.
Okay. I'm sure that must have happened when he predicted the parliamentary and presidential primaries, both for the NDC and the NPP. You might want to go and check the details there and how close he was. So
that was when
I don't
he was
know,
credible
but
and not being paid.
oh, okay. So now when it goes against a certain group, the person is being paid, right?
Look, the guy samples only 10,000 people.
All right, thank you. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's get into the Ghanaian Times. Let's get into the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Interestingly, though, I see. Wisdom, hold, please. I see Yao Martin Dedume say, I can't repeat the first thing he writes, but he says, I live at Pokwase and I've been having lights out for the past 3 weeks, sometimes 2 days. All right. Wisdom, 10 seconds. Let's go.
Ben, Kojo said crisis is a time of intense difficulty. And he went around to say that this is not a crisis. When ECG is not able to pay the independent power producers, Gridco came out and say that again?
Is that new?
Kojo, he didn't interject. I didn't allow him to interject. Let him go.
You actually making my point.
Finish your point.
It's not new. Because it's happened over and over again.
Okay, so point made. Point made, Wisdom. Let's get into the papers. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. Renewed Boku chieftaincy conflict. 20 shot dead, many others injured. If you noticed on the Bolgatanga Waliwali Tamale stretch, it was a sad story and cars getting stopped and all of that. But I also can't wrap my mind around, because we know the stories. I may not get extensively into them. We already know why. That other chief, the second chief, Seidu, was brought back, knowing the condition in town. But anyway, parliamentary impasse deepens as businessman files case against recall of parliament. Ayoko Boche receives tumultuous welcome home as she returns after successful election as new Commonwealth Secretary General. Government urged to invest in irrigation to boost all year-round farming, and the Ghana Health Service targets 2.6 million children for ongoing nationwide deworming. So quickly, I'm going to blaze through the stories, gentlemen. Stay with me. The renewed chieftaincy clash in Boku, in the Upper East region, has left at least 20 people dead, while other victims suffered serious gunshot wounds. 2 were shot dead at their Zango residence in the township at about 12 a.m. at dawn yesterday, while 8 met their untimely demise after assailants attacked them in the Boku township in the afternoon of Sunday. Similarly, 3 young men believed to be in their late 20s and early 30s who were on board a mini vehicle were accosted on the route close to the Boku Technical Institute and were shot multiple times, leading to their instant death. The Ghanaian Times has not been able to establish the exact number of residents who suffered injuries at the time of filing this report, but the police and the military have also had to step in. A reprisal from an angry youth also mobilized and attacked houses in about 4 communities, resulting in 7 additional deaths. And then 4 Ghanaians get 26 years for smuggling 4.5 million pounds cannabis into the UK. But the Speaker of Parliament, Albansu Mana Kingsford Bagman, has been re-elected as the chair of the Conference of Speakers and Presidents of Africa. No, that's not the story I wanted. That one is page 13, the bit about the recall of Parliament. Yeah, there it is. The legal tussle over the declaration of 4 seats vacant in Parliament is far from over, as a businessman has filed a motion for interlocutory injunction at the High Court to challenge the decision to recall Parliament from recess. On October 17, the Speaker of Parliament declared 4 seats vacant pursuant to Article 97G and H of the 1992 Constitution. His decision was challenged, as we know, by Afenyo Markin. And Mr. Yemo, the plaintiff, I'm just skipping, is arguing that the ruling of Mr. Bagman on October 17 was valid and it was consistent with Article 97.10G and 8. I think it's 97.1G and H, not 10, of the Constitution of Ghana, 1992. It was his case that the declaration by the Speaker that Andre Siama Amwako, Member of Parliament for Fomena, had vacated his seat was on the basis that Andre Siama having been elected as an independent Member of Parliament for Fomena constituency, filed nomination forms with the Electoral Commission to contest the upcoming election on the ticket of the NPP. It goes on and on. But quick reflections on these stories, Kojo.
Right. I don't think any businessman needs to get into this thing. Political people using surrogates to go to court. Look, there's no point. Our constitution.
But this is not the first time. Do you remember the e-levy? Do you remember the e-levy?
I remember everything, Ben. Let me make my point.
Okay.
The standing order and constitution of this country allows for the recall of parliament when 15% of the parliamentarians basically tells the speaker to recall, and he would have no option but to recall, because we have laws and articles to check the powers of the speaker. Because as Ghanaians will know, the only elected members of parliament are the members of parliament. The speaker is only an umpire who is there with certain limited powers to basically make sure that they do their work. So to check his powers also, there are provisions that allows members of parliament to call parliament, and that's what they are going to do. Parliament to be, they would ask him to recall parliament, and if he comes back and say that he's also adjourned it Senate again, they will ask him to recall parliament. The reason NDC is doing this is because they know that the bold solutions that everybody been saying that, oh, Dr. Bawumia, why can't he start these things now when he's president? They know that the November budget has a lot of the things that Dr. Bawumia has initiated. Okay, and they don't want that to come to the fore and for Ghanaians to see that before election. So they are frustrating the system of parliament. But look, all the things that NDC is doing to frustrate and create chaos in Ghana, it will come to pass. And it's unfortunate. Let me move on to the Boko situation. It's very sad because a lot of people that know me know that I lived in a house for so many years with people from Boko, because my dear mother from Pusiga, the late Hawa Yakubu, brought me up in a house where I live with Boko people. So I know a lot of people in the area. It's sad when a beautiful town like Boko is now divided into two. This side cannot cross over to that side, and we are hearing of these incidents going on. I pray and hope that the security agencies is supposed to bring calm and let the people vote in the January 7th election and for peace to return to Boko finally. Thank you. Wisdom, your thoughts?
But on this issue of parliamentary impasse, I don't have the legal know-how to tell you what the Supreme Court or Parliament should do or not do, considering that the matter is an ongoing litigation at the court. But this is what I can say. There is a reason why the Founding Fathers and the framers of our Constitution, right, ensure that we have separation of powers, okay, which still should work together for the common good of the nation. So I think it is best for the Supreme Court not to appear overly political when interpreting the laws that Parliament makes. That is why when you say
wisdom, hold. When you say they shouldn't appear overly political, then it means they are appearing political. That's what you're saying.
They shouldn't appear political at all. That's not their job.
So now you're putting it in proper context. Right, go ahead.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. Now, that's why it sounds reasonable to me that the Honorable Speaker of Parliament, he returned the Supreme Court writ back to them based on traditional constitutional provisions. And I even heard that there was a recent immunity directive from the Judiciary Secretary that also formed the basis of the Speaker's decision. Parliament, as a legislative branch of government, then should be free of undue influence by the judiciary and the executive branch. I think that if care is not taken, Ben, folks will start to see that our courts are beginning to infringe, on the independence of the legislature.
All right.
If they are ruling on these politically sensitive matters, do not meet the litmus test or do not align with past precedents, I think that is a politically charged matter, and our honorable members of Parliament, they'll get it right. But I think there should be separation of powers, the judiciary on its own, legislature on its own, and the executive branch on its own.
All right. I just saw, though, just quickly going back to the energy situation, a statement dated today from the Institute for Energy Security saying Ghana faces renewed threat of power crisis at 560 megawatt Sunon Asogli power plant shuts down amid debt dispute. Just this morning in the news, we were doing the story in business about how there were claims that Dr. Amin Adam, the finance minister, was being hypocritical because they were negotiating and no one negotiates to incur losses, or it must be a win-win situation, according to Sunon Asogli. And just quoting this portion, the statement says, in case you are experiencing a low-key doomsor, be prepared to see an extended version of saying, due to government's reluctance to act decisively as far as the root cause is concerned. But I'll wrap with this story. Ayoko Boche, please, Kojo, hold for me, please. Ayoko Boche receives tumultuous welcome home as she returns after successful election as new Commonwealth Secretary General. Now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Ms. Shirley Ayoko Boche, yesterday returned home to a tumultuous welcome at the Kotoka International Airport following her successful election as the new Secretary General of the Commonwealth. We welcome her back and we extend our congratulations to the minister. Let's move on to other papers. Daily Guide newspaper. OT chiefs declare support for Bawumia. I will make Commonwealth relevant, Ayoko Botwe says so. Ashanti clergy embraces education reform. Okwe launches Manifesto for Dome Kwabenya. And parliaments must lead Africa's global response. On the back page, Haaland skips Ballon d'Or. And it went to Rodri, and Real Madrid not happy. But that last turn of events, though, you know, people have spoken about certain acts in FIFA and UEFA. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Vinicius Jr. I think he's too hot-headed. He's too full of himself in some regard and all of that. But what happened yesterday, I'm not so sure. Anyway, Zambia mourns 7 players killed in bus crash. And Man U sack Ten Hag. Van Nistelrooy takes over. Hopefully, he'll come and rude himself. Will show some rudeness positively to other teams. Anyway, so quickly, as far as those stories are concerned, I'll start from page 6. I think some of the other stories we've really delved into. So page 6, aspiring Member of Parliament for Dome Kwabenya in the Greater Accra region, Michael Aaron Okwe Jr. has unveiled his comprehensive manifesto outlining key focus areas for the constituency's development. In his address, Mr. Okwe Jr. outlined his vision for the constituency built around 5 pillars: education, infrastructure, health, security, and employment. And Paramount Chief of Ampeyo Traditional Area of the Oti region, Nana Odeifo from Pongwari II, has assured the New Patriotic Party of his support in the upcoming general election. This was after he apologized to the government for not voting for the NPP in the 2020 general election, especially for not being able to give them even a single parliamentary seat. The chief disclosed this during Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's visit to the area as part of his December 7 electioneering campaign. And he said, "Your Excellency, before I continue, may I apologize for our inability to give the NPP a seat in the OT region, despite the fact that the NPP maneuvered or manipulated or encouraged and ensured that we had the OT region." Quick thoughts, starting with Wisdom.
And I'll go back to one of the stories.
Very brief, Wisdom, very brief. We are limited for time.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of national pride to think of what Ghana's Shirley Botchway has accomplished. You know, becoming the Commonwealth Secretary General-elect. She's for sure breaking barriers and setting the pace for women and young girls in Ghana, if not across the world. I think she's also proving that the role of women in all aspects of life is really indispensable. In the home, in the corporate setting, in leadership, and everywhere, women are extremely relevant. Without them, it would be challenging, right? If it's not impossible to operate anything meaningful. I have no doubt that she'll be very, very successful in her new role. And I think that we need to continue revisiting the topic of gender equality and women in leadership, because despite the tremendous contributions of women, there is still that gap between them and their male counterparts when it comes to pay equity and career progression in other areas. That is the reason why I believe that Sweetie is doing a very fantastic job with the women power and politics program that she does. I watch that very religiously, and I appreciate that a lot.
All right. Thank you. Kojo?
Look, when I was giving the explanation on why the outages are happening, you
Kojo, please, let's move on. We don't have all the time. That is why I don't know why you always like to keep going back and forth as though everything were about the point you had to make. Why must it always be so?
I want to use my time to correct
Go ahead. Use your time to talk about that.
Think that somebody can. I want to use my time to correct that. Somebody cannot just write that Sonia Sogli is the 560 megawatt. It's not. And I'm putting on record that Sonia Sogli has been off for over a month and the lights are on. So nobody can write in the papers that the outage is because of Sonia Sogli's indebtedness. Now, when you come to the Supreme Court, as my brother now puts it, when you look at the situation that people think that the separation of powers, the Supreme Court has not said anything that legally is not binding. Stay of execution too is a problem today. It's amazing. But anyway, when you hear that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia goes to the OT region and the people of OT are basically embracing him, he is the only candidate that has been to 220 constituencies as of yesterday. The other competitor, nobody even knows where he is. All the NDC wants to do is to create chaos, create instability. But what they should remember is Ghanaians today know that if there's a problem in Ghana, the person to solve it, it's not John Mahama. So they can create all the chaos and they can create all the information out there using all their propaganda machinery to create a certain misbelief that there's instability in the country, there is crisis, there is this. Ghanaians are of the view that if there is any such problem, Dr. Bawumia is the person to resolve that problem.
All right. Thank you very much.
Power now. You can't claim that somebody else is trying to cause chaos when your government is in power today. Are you trying to say that your government has no authority? Your government has no power to
Wisdom, thank you. Let's wrap the conversation shortly. So, Economy Times, Ghana engages economic partners, calls for improved trans-African trade. Ghana others to experience budget shortfall in 2024, Fitch predicts, and ADB PLC now solid and robust, profits continue to soar. So the Ghana government officials at the 2024 annual meetings of the IMF and the World Bank Group in Washington, D.C. held separate meetings with bilateral partners to deepen economic cooperation. You can grab details of that story. But this one, upward trends in Ghana's interest payment, that is debt servicing costs due to its unsustainable debt levels, are expected to continue to exert upward pressure on government spending, Fitch Solutions has predicted. You can also grab details of that in the Economy Times newspaper. 15 seconds each, gentlemen. Final thoughts. Let's go. Wisdom, start with you.
Man, look, when it comes to our debt...
and I mean 15 seconds.
Right. We've made some progress, right? But I always say this thing, the IMF assessment, it doesn't take into account what the average Ghanaian is going through. They should really take that into account, not just what our leaders go to tell them in Washington, D.C. People are still struggling. Our inflation is still high. People can't find jobs. There is unemployment everywhere. And so even though we keep making some progress, we need to be very, very realistic about this.
Okay,
there is still some work to be done for us to get out of the woods.
Thank you, Wisdom. Kojo?
Fitch Solutions should read Dr. Bawumia's manifesto. When he talks about pressures on upward spending of government, you know that the solution going forward after January 7th, when Dr. Bawumia is president, is that he's going to cut expenditure by 3% of GDP, which is about 30 billion Ghana cedis of government expenditure being reduced and given to the private sector to take care of. So look, the best way forward, the one with the bold solution, is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and I greet him this morning if he's listening.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining the conversation. Wisdom Dogbe is a financial analyst and Kojo Poku is an energy analyst. Both of them joined us for the news review this morning. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And this is where I knock off briefly because sports is up next. Oh, yeah, if you were thinking Vinicius Jr. was winning the Ballon d'Or yesterday. Real Madrid boycotted the event and Rodri ran away with the ultimate prize. But before we get into sports, in a move to inspire environmental sustainability, combat climate change, and promote wildlife conservation through the powerful medium of film, Joy News, in partnership with the Climate Development Knowledge Network and the Green Film Festival, proudly presents the 2024 edition of the Green Film Festival. This year's festival, themed Stories Spark Change, will take place from Friday the 25th of October to Saturday the 26th of October 2024 at the Legon Botanical Gardens in Accra. Well, that has actually happened. Let's segue into sports now. We'll be right back.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftahu Nabila Abdullah. Last weekend's Saturday at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium, it was a moment of networking, a moment of relationship building, and a moment of pride for corporate organizations that are assembled for this year's Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. And guess what? It was the National Petroleum Authority that walked away with 4 gold medals. Apex Bank walked away with 5 medals, 3 of which were gold. And today in studio, we have the proud winners. See, NPP celebrating with their medals over there. So in studio this morning is Apex Bank and NPA, the medal winners in this year's Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. So I have Sena Akoto Ampao of NPA. I remember when I was speaking to him after he lifted those trophies, he was like, we were here for this, and we won it. We also have Patrick here with me. He's with ARB Apex Bank, and Madam Akofa Podo, she's also with ARB Apex Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is still a proud moment for you, Senna, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It is a proud moment. And then we wish to thank you, Joy Sports, for giving us this invitation and giving us the opportunity to showcase our talent and also to network with our brothers from and sisters from Apex and other institutions. So it was an exciting program. Thank you very much.
It was an exciting program. And tell me, there's one thing people often said, that NPA, you're the regulatory body for the petroleum sector. You came and regulated the sector and went away with 4 gold medals. Why?
so as you are aware, it's true we are regulators of the petroleum downstream sector. Yeah. And, you know, we are always on the ground. So we are very active. Yeah. And then we have very young, energetic guys who work for us to able to manage what exactly goes on and give our customers value for money and ensure that there is fair play in the petroleum industry. So we also focus on the welfare of our staff. We do a lot of sporting activities in order to ignite team bonding and then also to make our staff socialize. So we take sports, that's one of the things that we take very seriously. We do a lot of investment into it in order to keep our staff healthy and then to stay fit, to be able to work.
You regulate the sector, but Patrick and then Akofa keep your money.
Exactly. they are in the office, so we bring them the money for them to manage for us.
Akofa, talk to me. How would you describe the experience of participating in the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament?
The experience was overwhelming. It was a moment that, in fact, we loved. It was filled with fun, energy, and then also opportunities, a lot of opportunities in for us. In fact, it also eased the corporate stress. Not only that, ARB Apex Bank is very happy and glad to participate in this tournament, and we are very happy about that.
Patrick, are you still in comfortable lead?
Oh, certainly. Like I told you, as first-timers at the tournament, it was obvious that our performance was overwhelming. Okay. We actually prepared very much, like our MD told you earlier on. And kudos to our MD this morning for his massive support.
Mr. Alex Kusiwa, right?
Yes, yes. In fact, the support from his end is very, very impressive, and we are so thankful for that support. And like I told you, next year we are coming on board again. But we are not coming as we came this year. We are coming with the 147 rural banks behind us. So expect something massive from us. And
the 8 million customers.
Yes, certainly. In fact, you have to look for extra stadiums to contain us because we are coming massively next year. And we are going to win. We are going to win.
You saw the energy in our head of HR. Yes. That's Madam Francisca. Dede Afutu.
I saw her, in fact.
Exactly. Not only her, Halima Oboshito, then Mariam Idris. They were full of energy.
You remember there till almost 7 p.m.
When all the institution left, very exhausted, that was the time these ladies were cheering us up to the last minute. You can imagine. So, in fact, we love sports. That is the main reason why, one, we go to the gym. The bank sponsored us, and we do that free. So, which bank or which company can you have to do this to you? So, in fact, we are happy.
Let me go to Senna again. Senna, you won 5 gold medals. The lawn tennis, the table tennis. You are just moving up and down like that. What is that special thing that Mustafa Hamid is doing in your office?
Yeah, you know, thank you very much for asking. I would have wished I would hold our secret, but don't worry, I'll share with our brothers.
Yeah,
so that next time we'll have a better competition.
Sure.
Okay, so at NPA, like you said, Dr. Sheikh Mustafa Hamid, he listens to us and he really cares about us. I would like to say a very big thank you. Anytime Director HR, that's Mr. Abil Jackson, anytime he sends a proposal concerning staff welfare, he pays particular attention and makes sure he delivers. As we talk now, we train all year. We just had our budget prepared and we have 52 weeks. That was cut to, I think, about 48 or so. So it means every week there's an opportunity for us to train.
Oh, wow.
Our tag team has a full year subscription to go to the gym to train. We have coaches for all our sporting teams: football, basketball, tug of war, table tennis, volleyball, and all the competitions. Even we are thinking of we are thinking of starting new competitions like the new American
NFL.
No.
Or is it the bowling?
No, the new one, the one that like tennis.
Is it table ball or something like that? Yes.
Yeah, we are thinking
tech ball.
Tech ball.
Yes.
No, tech ball is the one. We are thinking of starting tech ball too. Tech ball is the one they play on the table tennis board.
Yeah.
But there's another one. Is it picked?
Is it pickleball?
Yeah, pickleball.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we are thinking of starting those competitions too. And
then you should have won the swimming. Mr. Abiu Jackson, who was the coach
the swimming, we decided
the swimming national
some
team.
of the competitions, we actually didn't participate. Like volleyball, when we saw that it was being played in grass and I think it wasn't the right dimensions. When my team players saw it, they realized...
You want to be very technical, eh?
No. No, honestly, they were one of the first team that arrived. But when they went to check, they said they can't play in the grass.
Okay.
Yeah, so we gave it to our brothers. What's the name?
McDan won it.
McDan.
Yes.
Yeah, we gave it to them. But then we showed them something small during the tug of war. So that's the secret. We train all year. We don't wait till competitions before. We don't invest in competitions. We actually invest in the staff and in sports.
She represented you in the table tennis. As I have her highlights there. I remember when she was hitting the ball. I'm like, this we are just playing, eh? You are hitting the ball so hard like that. but Akofa, he has given you a secret. What have you picked from that?
In fact,
Senna?
we have picked a lot from what Senna said. But we are first time though, but you know, we
first timers with 5 trophies.
With 5 trophies.
Oh wow, let me clap for you.
but we are first timers too.
You're also first timers.
We're also first timers.
Let's clap for you more.
We are also preparing. And hearing the secrets, we know our MD is very flexible. So he will allow us also to train more. In fact, we already plan it already. We will not even spill all the secrets here, else NPA will hear it. We are keeping it for ourselves, and we know what we are going to do. Next year, we are going to sweep all the award. Believe us, we are sweeping the award. NPA, forget about even one medal, because we are sweeping all. Believe us.
Patrick, talk to me about the system you run at ARB Apex Bank, because one of the things that you talk so much about is having 147 branches, 8 million customers. What makes ARB special, Apex Bank special?
Okay, so for ARB Apex Bank, we were actually established in the year 2000. And then our mandate as a bank is to supervise the activities of all the rural banks within the country. So all the rural banks are under the ARB Apex Bank umbrella. And we are supposed to supervise their activities across the nation. We do this in various forms by provision of specie duties. We also do audit and inspection for them, ICT, training them on areas where they need training, and a lot more. We also provide them with digital banking services and many other things that we do for them. So basically, that's what we do for the rural banks. But it's a partnership. So we exist because they exist. So we do everything possible to ensure that they grow and become better, and they're able to serve their customers well. So that their customers will also patronize their services, and they will all grow together. So basically, that's what we do for the rural banks.
In fact, most people don't know ARB Apex Bank. We are just a mini central bank. Just as Bank of Ghana is a central bank to all the banks, Apex Bank is a mini central bank to all the rural and community banks. Somebody may hear rural bank thinking it is a hidden bank in a rural area.
In some corner.
No.
Especially in my village.
Exactly.
Have you heard of DO before?
Yes.
Let me take advantage to advertise DO.
So we have rural banks that are doing very well. The rural and community banks, banks in the community. So we are not just rural, but a community bank. We clear their checks for them. They do very well. So this is a time for everybody to save with the rural banks because they are very strong with financially. So when you save with rural bank, in fact, you will get a lot from them.
A lot from them. Let me come to Senna. As the regulator of, I remember Fent was saying that you are responsible for us to be able to move on the road. Because if you don't regulate the system very well, I'll go to buy fuel and they are going to give me something small. What is that special thing that MPA is doing behind the scenes to ensure that the petroleum sector is perfect for everyone?
Okay, so Fention was right, but not only on the road. Even by air, on the sea and everything, we make sure we deliver, you are served the appropriate
quantum
to transport.
Undertake your activities.
Exactly, yeah. So MPA, like I said earlier on, our major focus is to ensure that there is fair play in the petroleum downstream industry. And then also there's profitability. People are able to sustain their business and most importantly, give the citizens value for their money when they go to the filling station to purchase petroleum products, fuel, petrol and diesel, when they go to the gas station to get their gas. And that's why we thought of it and brought and introduced the cylinder recirculation model to make access to gas easier in order to protect our forest and prevent the felling of trees and all that. Yeah, so basically we are focused on our customers and the citizens to make sure they get the appropriate fuel for their activities. Yeah.
Doing the right thing is why you were able to get these medals.
Exactly.
I remember Akofa was accusing me of giving them only one medal.
Don't worry, we can lend them some of our medals.
We were giving a cup without a medal. That would have.
You have built a relationship, right?
Yeah.
With MPA.
But MPA is lucky. If not, we would have been the overall.
Oh, but you are lucky. We were giving medals without a cup.
Because you don't deserve it.
No. It was very well deserved.
That's beautiful.
But like they always say, agroni for. So next year, we'll meet you. We'll come with a different strategy.
You have already built the relationship. You can negotiate and change some of the medals and the trophies. Isn't it?
Yes. We'll give them our two of our medals.
In fact, I'm sure MPA doesn't know much about Apex. He feels Apex is only in head office or Accra. We have our branches also across the regions. Yeah. We are in Koforidua, we are in Bolga, we are in Agona Nkwanta, we are in Hohwe, our branch, we are in Tamale, we are in Bolga, and all
I'm not going to mention my village again. You are not in my village. I mean, come and put one in my village.
Please, we'll be there.
We are plenty.
But you have a rural bank in your village, so you don't have a problem.
Okay.
Apex is there. Wherever rural bank and a community bank is, Apex is represented.
Oh, wow. Then we are well represented. Exactly. Those of us within the Wale Wale constituency.
Because they are our customers.
Yeah.
And we don't joke with them.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. We are extremely grateful. You made Joy Sports invitation what it was on Saturday. You brought us so much fun, especially to your players. They gave us a very competitive spirit. They competed so well, and they came up with it. And just to mention again, the multimedia group has decided to give each of you 20,000 Ghana cedis worth of airtime.
That's nice.
To advertise your product. Yes. And you can redeem that in the first quarter of 2025. So we are always available. We say Joy Sports Invitational is for everyone. It's for all of you. We're here to support. We are here to grow your business, and we are here to build a long-lasting relationship beyond just going out to have fun. So yeah, you have that, and then you can redeem it in the first quarter of 2025. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
MPA, 4 gold medals. ARB Apex Bank, 5 medals, 1 silver. 5 medals, 3 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze. You want the silver?
No, bronze.
Bronze. Hey, you wanted to cheat me. I saw the time you made. I still have the time on my phone. It's been a pleasure coming your way with this conversation on Joy Sports Invitational. Continue to patronize us, continue to make Joy Sports your home of sports, and we say we are extremely grateful that you see Joy Sports as a brand worthy of your partnership. Do not hesitate to get in touch with us in our next edition of the Joy Sports Invitational, and we'll be communicating that pretty soon. Head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. We appreciate your time.
You're still watching the AM show right here on Joy News, and right now we get into our big stories. We are looking at the pensions manifestos. So Social Security has recently become a major policy debate in most political jurisdictions. We can talk about the US presidential elections, the Germany federal elections for 2025, France, and many others. Ghana is not excluded. And the issues around pensions have often led to rising tensions between labor and government. So with the current happenings concerning the Social Security policy debate, we are taking a comprehensive look at the pension policy manifestos of the 2 major political parties, the NPP and the NDC, which is no doubt crucial to the voting decisions of Ghanaians working and retirees. Benjamin Akakpo is standing by with some facts and figures to usher us into the conversation. Ben, what do we have?
Well, quite a number of things to look at. I'll look at them briefly, contemplate them briefly, and then we'll get into the studio and have the conversation proper. So let's get to the slides now. We're contemplating the NDC and the MPP's proposed manifesto policy provisions on Social Security. Mind you, we've had a conversation on pensions generally. Today, we want to situate it in the context of the 2 major political parties. So let's do a little juxtaposition. If you look at the MPP, there's been that promise to build a nation that cares for and invests in the vulnerable. How? They elaborate. 1, expanding and working towards a unified social protection benefit scheme, protecting the elderly and ensuring sustainable, secure pensions, and working with Parliament to pass an aging act. Like I mentioned, I'm just going to be picking bits and pieces because we'll elaborate on them in the conversation. If you look at the NDC on this point, it says it promises to enhance the security and sustainability of Ghana's pension scheme and ensure a dignified retirement for all citizens and also enable the pensions industry to deliver on its core mandate. So how they are planning to do that, legislative and regulatory frameworks to allow contributing workers who lose their jobs suddenly to also be supported. You know that in other jurisdictions, there are some support mechanisms for some people who lose work in the US and parts of Europe, the UK, among others. So that is the plan as far as the NDC is concerned. But if you go further, let's go to the next slide. You would see that the NPP also promises that it will work with regulators and labor, and there have been many industrial actions, strikes in recent times, from CTAG to UTAG to organized labor on different fronts, right? To work with regulators and labor to enable workers, including teachers, nurses, among others, to utilize pensions as collateral to secure mortgages or mortgage facilities. That's an interesting point, and when we get into the studio, we'll be looking at that as well. And also enact necessary legislation as far as enabling retirees to purchase or sell annuities. We'll have the experts explain the details to us. But when it comes to the NDC, as far as this same setup is concerned, we're putting them side by side. The NDC says it will set up a mortgage assistance fund to allow workers who have made Tier 2 contributions, not Tier 1, Tier 2 contributions for a minimum period of 15 years to use their contributions as collateral to access mortgage loans. So similar thoughts running across both the NPP and the NDC. And also accommodate past credit lump sum payments to workers from age 50 years. So once you hit 50, then that will be triggered, and improve efficiency in service delivery and enhance the efficiency of SNIT. Let's go to the next slide. I'm going through them very quickly because, like I mentioned, we'll expand, elaborate on those when we get into the studio. Now, they also, when it comes to the NPP, following from the mortgage point, National Cocoa Farmers Pension Scheme. So this is targeted at cocoa farmers, and undertake a mop-up exercise to enroll cocoa farmers missed in the enrollment exercise. What does the NDC say? Restructure and strengthen the corporate governance of SNIT for efficient pension fund management and enhance operations as well ahead of retirement. Let's go to the next slide. For the NPP, then it talks about SMEs, MSMEs, in fact, micro, small, and medium enterprises, using 10% of their annual tax payments as contributions towards retirement. 10%. If you come to the NDC, it says reduce old age poverty. And it goes back to the previous point that the NPP had. Reduce old age poverty by encouraging Ghanaians of all income brackets to invest towards their retirement by making defined pensions contributions. You do realize that a lot of those in the informal sector oftentimes are those most affected because they don't have a system like people in the white-collar jobs would have to pay, you know, a SNIT. And that is why a lot of the time you see some of them in the situations they find themselves. When it comes to the NPP, undertake a legislative reform. And there's a lot of focus on legislative reform as well. It's something we'll have to keep our eyes on. In terms of the law, what must change? Undertake a legislative reform to strengthen the security and intelligence agencies. And the NPP administration amended the act. They actually undertook that by submitting a bill to include the Ghana Police Service, among others. And Cap 30 comes into the fray. This is something we have to talk about vis-a-vis even the single spine salary structure, among others. But for the NDC, they talk about creating value for contributors and pensioners by investing pension contributions in development projects with high returns. And recently, if you remember the tussle between Rock City and Labour, you would know where that ended. And finally, on this point, implement the Muniyo initiative, Muniyo, to promote the uptake of special pension schemes for informal sector workers, such as commercial drivers and more. You'd realize that the NPP also spoke about the Ghana Police Service and others in there. They are also talking about commercial drivers, commercial motorcyclists, small-scale miners, among others. So if you look at it, this is what the two parties are looking at. And then you also see ensure the efficient distribution of contributors' funds to listed pension firms for optimal benefits. These are what the two political parties are offering. The question is, assessing these, how are we to look at what they are offering? And what does it mean for us, the ordinary Kofis and Amas out here? Well, we get into the details now. I'm handing over back to Sweetie Abochi to take on the conversation.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. So that is where we are right now. And joining us in the studio for a detailed conversation, analysis of where we stand in terms of Ghana's pension system and the promises that both political parties, the major political parties, are making is Dr. Mashud. Doc, many thanks for joining us this morning in the studio.
Thank you. Good morning to your viewers. And it's always a pleasure to have you here. But just a little correction. I'm not a dog.
Prof.
Yes,
Professor Mashud.
Mashud.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. Right. Benjamin, it's good for you to join us, our special guest, after giving us those details on what the NDC and NPP want to do for us. But I
know, right? But let me just, what did you say the correction was?
Prof.
Oh, it's just Mashud. I'm not a doc, I'm not a prof.
Just Mashud.
Okay, right. I just wanted that to be very clear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sweetie?
Yes, so I wanted to say, can you first, let's start by explaining really what's Ghana's current state in terms of pension system means and its main challenges that we have before we get to the promises that both major political parties are making.
Great. Once again, thank you very much for having me. As you may recall, Social Security Administration took center stage in the media, and the issue has become very popular and has increased public attention on the subject, and more or less has become a campaign-winning issue as far as Social Security in Ghana is concerned. Social Security has got the main objectives of improving benefit adequacy, paying benefits to more, and improving the long-term sustainability of pension systems. Basically, this is what is happening. And when you look at pension reforms around the world, you realize that the International Labour Organization, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the International Social Security Association, all these bodies have been talking about pension reforms in these areas. In fact, benefit adequacy, pension coverage, and financial sustainability are the cornerstones of Social Security. So basically, what we are going to do would be to situate the policies that the political parties have proposed within this context, and see how they are really fitting and whether they represent the real solutions and hope for the Ghanaian pensioner. But it's important, of course, they are proposing solutions, and we need to understand what the problems are and whether the proposals that they have put forward will be able to address the same. Now, Suti talked about the Ghanaian context. What is happening is that I'm going to break the Ghanaian problem down into these three thematic areas. I'm talking about benefit adequacy, pension coverage, and financial sustainability. First of all, benefit adequacy. If you take the poverty threshold, national poverty threshold, and you synchronize this one with the pension payroll, you realize that as of 2022, we had very high incidence of poverty among the pensioner population. Here we are talking about 60% of pensioners are poor. And I'm talking about 6 out of 10 or 3 out of 5 pensioners are poor here in Ghana as at December 2022. Now, a recent survey that the ACR conducted indicated that, or revealed that 85% of Ghanaian workers rely solely on Social Security payout.
85%?
85% of Ghanaian workers rely on Social Security payouts as their main source of livelihood. And so, if you put these two together, you realize that benefit adequacy is not that much. So now let's bring in, what do they call it, pension indexation, especially minimum pension. Minimum pension is seen as a relief mechanism for poor pensioners or low-earning pensioners. The minimum pension has increased from the year 2000 consistently every year. It has increased every year from the year 2000 until in 2017. From 2017, it has not increased. Then it increased a little bit in 2018. Then from 2019, the minimum pension has remained at 300 Ghana cedis for 6 successive years. And this is very problematic because if you scan through pension reforms around the world, you realize that almost all countries, especially in the OECD region, are undertaking pension reforms objectively to improve benefit adequacy to the poor or low-earning pensioners. Okay. And I'm not really finding that here in Ghana. So these are the issues. Now, that is the first part about pension adequacy or benefit adequacy. Now, let's come to coverage.
On the bit about benefit adequacy, though, let's look at it from 2000, like you mentioned. The increments have been consistent, pretty consistent. But if you look at the adjustments that have been made vis-a-vis the cost of living, yes, purchasing power parity, among others, have the increments been enough? It's one thing to increase, it's another thing to ensure that the increments actually positively impact beneficiaries.
So here we are talking about two issues. We are talking about pension indexation and minimum pension. Minimum pension is, even though it's part of the indexation mechanism, but it's a bit different. I like to separate it for the sake of context. Generally, there has been a mismatch. I mean, at least if I take the last 15 years, I can confirm that there has been a mismatch between price increases and pension increment 14 times out of the last 15 years. So 14 times out of the last 15 years.
There has not been a proper match.
No, there has been. In fact, what do they call it? Price increases have always surpassed, pension increments, and that is affecting the economic well-being of the Ghanaian retiree. And when you bring in the real effects of other, real inflation, the real effects of inflation, you realize that, the picture becomes even worse. And this one is pushing a lot of pensioners into poverty. So now I talked about pension coverage. About 82% of Ghanaian workers, according to estimates from the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, 85% of Ghanaian workers are not covered under the pension system. As at last year, the Ministry for Employment and Labor Relations estimated that Ghana had 9.9 million workers, out of which 8.1 were not covered under the social security system. This is problematic. And
so 9.9 million workers, 8.1 million
are not covered under the social security system. And most of the uncovered workers could be found in the informal sector, mostly includes women who are concentrated in the markets. And this particular element is reflecting in what we call beneficial coverage ratio. Beneficial coverage ratio is looking at the proportion of Ghanaians who are aged 60 years and above who are not receiving pension from the pension system, or who are receiving pension from the pension system. Now, when you look at Ghana, we have less than 15% of persons aged 60 years and above who are formally or who are receiving benefit from the pension system.
Right.
This one does not match favorable against 27% in Africa and 78% worldwide. That is a key.
So that's 27%
in Africa. Then 78% worldwide.
And Ghana is?
Ghana is less than 15%. It's actually 14.2.
Wow. 14.2.
This is a major poverty measurement indicator that needs to be looked at. I've seen some interesting proposals with regards to how to extend social security coverage to the informal sector. As I indicated, most of these people could be found in the informal sector, and it's a key poverty measurement indicator, something that we need to deal with. Now, when we come to financial sustainability, it is not new that the financing situation of the social security system is doubtful. Recent actuarial valuation reports have been very, very clear. They are telling us that the social security system is not financially sustainable in the long run, and the reserves are set for depletion by 2036. I've heard the Social Security Administration try to let us understand that, or try to make us believe that we should just close our eyes and have blind faith in social security, telling us that, after all, they are just projections and nothing is going to happen and all that. I think we have to situate the discussion about financial sustainability in context. I'm not going to look at the projections. Let's look at, what do they call it, the financial statement of SNIT in the last 9 years, which constitute 3 actual valuation reports. I just want us to look. These are real figures. It's not any projection. The first valuation, I'm talking about the last 3 years. The first valuation is looking at January 2012 to December 2014. The second valuation is looking at January 2015 to December 2017. The third valuation, which is what we are dealing with currently, is looking at January 2018 to December 2020. Now, when you look at generally, we are talking about schemes reserves being depleted. Generally, the scheme reserves or the position of the reserves is determined by excess contribution over expenditure in any given year.
So, in other words, what is coming into the kitty is a lot more than what it is expending to beneficiaries.
Exactly.
So that then you can have more to invest and then gain more money.
Build the reserves. Right. So if you look at the first valuation, 2012 to 2014, the excess contribution, at the end of the period, the excess contribution over expenditure was 4 billion.
Okay.
Now you go to the second valuation, the excess contribution over expenditure came down to 2.4 billion.
What happened in between?
It means, revenue is not matching up with expenditure. That is basically what it means.
Because if there's a drop by about half,
exactly,
it means something is wrong somewhere.
Exactly. So 4.4 billion in the first valuation, it declined to 2.4 billion in the second valuation. In the last valuation, the excess contribution over expenditure is standing at 0.76 billion.
So it has fallen to about 760 million.
Exactly, exactly.
But do you know why these changes are happening? Because then it means we're slowly getting close to zero.
Exactly, and that is why they will warn you that your reserves are depleting.
That is why that report came through telling us that by 2025,
exactly. So these are the
2040 rather.
2040, no, by 2036. And in fact, the scheme would be forced to reduce benefits by 24% by 2040. Based on the current actual valuation. It's an aspect that we have not been looking at. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we need to look at the figure, the real figures. I'm not looking at any projection. I'm just looking at the income statement of the scheme in the last 9 years, which constitute 3 valuation reports. 4 billion excess contribution over expenditure reduced to 2.4, then it reduced to 0.76 billion. Clearly, if I'm the head of the Social Security Administration, the alarm bells should go off, especially if I have the income security of the Ghanaian worker in mind.
But that's exactly where it also becomes a question of whether these institutions abroad really have the correct picture. Because you've heard the head of SNIT say that that is not the case. In fact, in recent times, they were talking about some billions of Ghana cedis they had doled out to beneficiaries and all of that. Is that the reality? Are we tickling ourselves and laughing, or is it that those outfits outside are getting something?
So basically what they want us to believe is, what they are telling us is that you should just close your eyes and have blind faith in Social Security, despite all the signs available to us. It's not done anywhere in the world. You see, the interpretation that, we are given, and, the explanation that we are providing about the actual valuation report, when you go anywhere in the world, unless, of course, we are talking about a different planet, Pluto, altogether. But as long as we are talking about the Earth, we are talking about Social Security on Earth, those are the basis. You are looking at how demography and economy is affecting the income, the expenditure,
push and pull factors.
The expenditure and the income equation. And you have to look at that. And that is what I've just looked at. If you look at the revenue expenditure equation, you get to realize that, look, I just need to go to work. And let me add this one. If you take the first valuation, 2012 to 2014, the share of expenditure or the share of income that was used for expenditure was 37%. In the second valuation, it increased to 65%. And as we speak, in the last valuation, the share of the income that was used for expenditure, and when I say expenditure, I'm talking about administrative cost and cost of benefit, it had risen to 79%.
Sweetie Abochi, 2036 is about 12 years away.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you'll be in Ghana still working. There are people who also work abroad and for a while they don't contribute here, or they may still want to continue contributing. But if we are going to do this thing, some of us are wondering at age what? By 2036, where will we be?
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is you're saying that they're expecting us to close our eyes and expect the dominoes to just fall. So what should we be doing instead? No. You also talked about some reforms that are already underway.
That is why this one is very important. In fact, I was expecting a very big statement. We'll go into the details shortly. I'm sure when we go in there, in fact, I was expecting a very big statement from both political parties, especially concerning this one. It's a real issue. It's not as if somebody is a naysayer. No. That is why I had to forget about the projection that I alone made and now come to the income expenditure statement of the trust in the last 9 years. Unless, of course, you have other figures to contradict what I'm telling you. But we have to go to work.
Should we get into it? The various policies and strategies that both political parties are getting. Benjamin, from listening to you, it looks like the NPP's focus is on broadening the pension base, to include legislation, legislation and all that. So, should I say Mr.?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, Mr. Mashud, what is this feasible? What they are proposing? Does it have what it takes to meet us at the point of our needs in terms of pension benefits? With these alarming figures, 8.1 million people who are not covered.
Yeah, so just as I said...
and that's for the NPP.
Exactly. Yeah. Assessment, we both have actually, proposed solution in regards to, extending coverage to the informal sector. May we go back to the slides? The NPP is saying that it is going to encourage informal sector, pension into the informal sector.
So let me help you before we get it projected. The NPP says it promises to build a nation that cares for and invests in the vulnerable by expanding and working towards a unified social protection benefit scheme. Okay. Unified social protection.
Okay, so I think I'll prefer we look at them this way.
Would you like us to look at one party and be done and go to the next, or you want us to look at them side by side?
No, so we can look at them side by side. I think it will be interesting. There are common,
denominators.
Exactly. So we'll look at them that way. So if they say expanding, the NPP says expanding and working towards a unified social protection benefit. It's not very clear. Maybe the NPP is talking about Section 213 of Act 766. The Section 213 stipulated that 5 years after the implementation of Act 766, all parallel schemes must be put under one umbrella of Social Security. That is Act 766. Mm-hmm. Now, I think we are doing 16 years after the implementation of the Act 766. We haven't seen anything. But it is the MPRA that is mandated to implement this particular section of the law. I remember in 2018, the MPRA submitted a memo to Cabinet for approval so they can implement this particular section of the law. Then in 2021, eventually they received the approval. Since then, we haven't had anything. Then we rather continue to have disaggregation and splitting of the pension system. This one's breaking away, this one is breaking away. As long as...
What was the communication there? You said since 2021 you have...
There hasn't been any communication. You only find political actors saying that they go and promise. For instance, the NPP said somewhere that they want to encourage the security services by moving them to Cap 30. So if you look at this particular point where they are saying that I want to build a unified social protection benefit scheme, which requires that you have to put everything under one umbrella. Mm. Now you again turn around to say that I want to encourage these people by putting them under Cap 30. That is a sharp contradiction.
What does this unification entail? What does it mean? Does it mean unification in terms of all people in the country, or does it, what exactly?
Various sectors, various classes of workers will all have to be brought under Act 766. For instance, the police service, the military, all, including workers in audit service, all those under Cap 30 is non-contributory.
Right.
Their benefits are being financed from the taxpayers, from the pool of taxes that we pay. But when you come to the other side, Act 766, that one is contributory. They deduct money from your salary.
Right.
And benefits are financed using your own contribution.
And that's where the dichotomy is.
Exactly.
Contributors versus Cap 30.
Exactly.
So what does this unification then mean?
The unification, it was under Act 766, 213 of the Act 766 indicated that, look, after 5 years after implementation of the Act 766, we are bringing everybody under Act 766. The police service, all the security services were supposed to be brought.
But that hasn't happened.
That hasn't happened. And that is creating a lot of inequity, discrimination, and all that. So it is very, very, very important we implement Section 213 of Act 766. And I'm happy the NPP has mentioned that, except there's a contradiction somewhere where they are talking about putting all the security services by encouraging them, or, whatever, by, putting them under Cap 30. It's not very clear that way.
Then when you look at what the NDC proposes, on the other hand, promising to enhance the security and sustainability of Ghana's pension system and ensuring a dignified retirement for all citizens, how do you match that up? But wait, even before you go there, so you're saying that once the NPP talks about this unification and then they make mention of Cap 30, it means there's a disjointed situation.
Exactly, that is a contradiction. If you say you are expanding and creating a unified pension scheme, what it means is that you have to implement Section 213 of the Act 766, which states that 5 years after the implementation of the Act, all parallel schemes must be brought under one umbrella. That is the position. Even though we haven't had it, there have been attempts. We have had political actors saying a lot about the implementation of Section 213 of the Act. We haven't actually seen anything. So the point that I'm making over here is that saying you are, putting all security services under Cap 30 and saying you are building a unified pension scheme is a clear contradiction. And let's come to the other side, where the NDC is saying that it's going to promises to enhance security and sustainability of Ghana's pension system and ensure a dignified retirement for all citizens and blah, 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 blah. So now, what happens is that I don't know what they mean by, what do they call it? Excuse me, let me.
Okay, so there you go.
I don't clearly see what they mean by an efficient pension system, but what I know is that an efficient pension system is one that pays adequate benefits to as many people as possible, non-discriminatory, with low administrative costs as possible, with strong engagement for social partners.
You said low what?
Low administrative costs, strong engagement for social partners. Public confidence is very, very important to the success of any pension system. And for public confidence to exist, there must be proper good governance is very, very, very essential over here. So if they mention, they have lumped everything together, and there's a need for us to break them down. Enhance security and sustainability. I'm excited about this one because they have mentioned sustainability, because what it means is that they have recognized the situation that we are finding ourselves, financing situations, Ghana's pension system, and to enable pension deliver on its core mandate of providing whatever. So now let's go to A. Allow contributing workers who lose their jobs suddenly due to natural disasters to be supported while they search for opportunities. Now, I think COVID-19 came with a lot of lessons. It imposed a lot of hardship on almost all economies. A lot of, increment in prices of goods and services, increment in cost of living, soaring unemployment rates, and all that. And if you look at what other countries did in response to what actually happened during the period of COVID, what they did was to, tweak their pension systems in order to pay more benefits to those who were impacted by the pension system. So if the NDC is saying that it is going to, pay benefits to those who are affected by disasters, I think that is a very good call. And I think...
But is it sustainable? I mean, recently we have the VRA, the spillage, the dam spillage, and everything that happened. Some of those people are still calling for some support. I know farmers who lost banana farms and everything. People were affected. Those are force majeure situations, if you like, though the spillage had to be done and it wasn't man-made. But are those some of the things we should be looking at? Other jurisdictions have food stamps and other things that they use. How do we go about it to ensure sustainability?
Yeah, I think this is a very good one. It is sustainable. Let's look at the qualifying conditions. They are saying that you have lost your job. That is the first condition. And the second condition is that should happen through a disaster. If you put the two together, you realize that the likelihood of it happening is very low, or the likelihood of the social security system paying benefit to said people is very low. But broadly, when it does happen, the impact will be very, very, very huge. So I see that as a very good policy, especially during times of disasters.
Okay. Sweetie, can we get into some others?
Yes, so that's for expansion of coverage and benefits adequacy. In terms of funding sustainability, you touched on it a bit. I tried to do, in preparing for this, a side-by-side, what each party is promising and the similarities in there. So let me just refer this to you. So in terms of funding sustainability, the NPP, NDC says they aim to increase government contributions to pensions, potentially revising the percentage of government revenue allocated to SNIT. And the NPP says they are proposing reforms within SNIT to ensure long-term sustainability, including improved investment strategies and operational efficiencies. Which one of these in terms of funding sustainability?
Yeah, so
as are the points of
in that case, I'll be going for the NDC's proposal, and I tell you why.
Which is to increase government contributions to pensions.
Exactly. So because I'm not sure that are they talking about contribution rate?
That will be.
I am sure that is what they are talking about. This is just a direct response to the actuarial valuation report. The actuarial valuation report did indicate to us that the scheme is not sustainable, and there are a few options open to you. But one recommendation that they put forward was that there is a need for contribution rate increment, and that is where we are. So if the NPP is...
So like it or not, you can look at building your investment portfolio, like, the hotels and other things. You can do all of that. But some way, somehow, we must ramp up in, the sums of money going to SNIT. And one of those options is to have government...
The contribution rate. Yeah, that is exactly what they are saying. So if you look at what the NPP is saying, it is saying it wants to improve the long-term sustainability of the scheme by ensuring that investments are prudently, done and all that. That is where we have been all these years. And it hasn't really worked for us. So I would want to make, my judgment based on what the actuarial valuation report is saying. The actuarial valuation report has given us the problem, and it has recommended a solution. And so what the NDC is saying is clearly in line with the...
How, though, do you think government can address this? Because we don't have a large kitty that we can just dig into. It's the same tax, pool. We are all contributing. When it comes to taxes too, they will tell you, we are not even doing enough and it's difficult to meet government responsibilities. Then you have to pay public sector workers and all of that. How are we going to do it vis-a-vis an IMF-supported program, vis-a-vis tax problems and all that? How will we do it?
Yeah, so let me explain this one a bit. If they say they are increasing contribution rate to SNIT, what it means is that currently the contribution rate at the end of the month, Joy takes 5.5% from your salary at 13%, making 18.5%. 13.5% of the collected 18.5% is going to SNIT.
Right.
Out of the 13.5% that is remitted to SNIT, SNIT would then take 2.5% and give it to NHIA.
Right.
Living effectively, what it means is that SNIT is managing just 11%.
Right.
So what the actuarial valuation report is telling you is that the expenditure is rising so much due to demography and economy, administrative costs and all that. So there is the need for you to increase the contribution rate. So that is basically what the actual valuation...
So this will not have to come directly from government?
Exactly. No. It is coming through employer-employee contribution. Okay. And if you look around Africa and the world, I would say, Ghanaian employees pays the lowest as far as contribution rate is concerned.
So it must go higher?
Yeah, it has to.
What would you say averagely? I mean, let's look at, you are the expert. Yeah. Let's look at maybe our sub-region and maybe go to the southern or northern belts of Africa. What prevails there? How much higher can we go?
So it depends on who you are looking at. The benefits are financed through employers' contribution and employees' contribution. If you look, I think I've rated 47 countries in Africa, and I think Ghanaian workers, I'm talking about the contribution that is coming from the employee. They pay one of the lowest. They pay one of the lowest, actually. I think out of 47, they came, 45th. 45th. But when it comes to the employer contribution, the component that the employer is paying, which is 13%, I think they were about 10 in Africa, as far as...
Okay, so the problem is not how much employers are paying, as far as the scheme is concerned. It's about the contribution of the employer himself or herself.
Of the employee. So if...
the employee, yes.
If you ask me...
The employee.
If there are going to be pension reforms, and we all agree that, look, let's engage and, improve the contribution rate to the pension system in Ghana. The first place I'll be looking at will be the employee contribution, which is 5.5%.
Right.
That is the first place I'll be looking at.
All of us sitting here, what we contribute by law,
the
18-point-something that goes in there, our 5.5%, then the employer's 13-point-something percent, out of which the 13%.
Yeah.
That's the total. Then the 2-point-something% will be taken for national health insurance.
Living 11%.
You are left with 11-point-something%.
No, 11% actually.
11%.
11%.
So it means that if we agreed to ramp it up a bit by, let's say, another 5%, then we could, I don't know what percentages you'd be looking at, but the question also is looking at the economy.
Do we want to do that?
And how much you are getting coming back to you. Would you want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. So we have to look at it more broadly. That is why engagement is very, very important. If you listen to almost all those who are talking about sustainability of pension, engagement is very, very important. And that is why I indicated that you have to, first of all, run the pension system efficiently. Gain public confidence. Public confidence is key to the long-term sustainability of the system. And for confidence to exist, good governance is important. So if we have issues like somebody is trying to sell a hotel somewhere, they say, Senate is spending a lot in this area and all that, it is affecting public confidence. And once public confidence is affected, it gets to the point where you need to engage the people and let them understand that, look, we are all in trouble. There is a need for us to increase the contribution rate. It has been there for many, many, many years. We have gotten to a point that if we have to sustain the scheme for future generations, we need to increase the contribution rate. If it gets to that point and you want to go back to them, they'll be looking at how efficiently you are running the pension system.
Let's stay on public perception a bit. We've been seeing the newsletters, the statements from SNID themselves, refuting some of the claims and all that. How exactly can they revamp their image in terms of public perception? Now, I'm sure many young people are not confident enough in SNIDs, and that's why they don't even bother to contribute. They'll prefer other private insurance companies and the rest. What should we be doing to revamp the image in terms of public perception of SNID?
Yes, so I think that there's so much we can do. I've indicated that SNID is very, 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 very important. All that is for all of us. It is very, very important we do all that we can to protect the scheme for all of us. So if you find somebody doing something somewhere and you think it is not in line with what the best practices require, what the person is doing is going to affect the scheme, that means we have to draw the person's attention. I keep saying that it is not out of place. It is not wrong for an actual valuation to say that, look, your scheme is facing financing challenges. It's not sustainable in the medium to long run. As a result, your reserves are set for depletion at a certain point. It is very, very normal for us to have a report like that. If you go to the US pension system is not sustainable, and they said the reserves are set for depletion by 2035. Whereas here in Ghana, we have 2036, they have 2035. But the difference between Ghana and the US is that, and other places, is that they are discussing the solution.
Okay.
Here, we are not doing anything.
And on the other hand, they have systems that cushion the citizenry, like when COVID struck.
Exactly.
Like,
they did,
when
they
the
did
economy was impacted, even job creation and those without jobs. They have systems that cushion.
Exactly. They did a lot. And that is why Social Security is a major subject in the build-up to their 2024 election. It's a major, and it's an election decider.
Do you think we are not paying enough attention to this ahead of election 2024?
No, so that is why we are having this conversation. It is very, very important. Look, when you go back from 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020 manifestos, you look at the Social Security provisions that are stated in the vaguely stated, they are not direct, they are not specific. It's very difficult for you to tell whether it has been implemented or not. But I have seen this time, especially the NDC, has moved away a little bit in terms of preciseness, in terms of directness. For instance, they have indicated somewhere, accommodate past credit lump sum payment to workers from age 50 years. This is a very good policy. And we have to do some numbers.
I've seen that. So when it comes to the mortgage bits, which I think we should get into right after this point, accommodate past credit lump sum payments to workers from age 50 years. So once, but then you would look at the first point says, set up a mortgage assistance fund to allow workers who have made tier 2 contributions for a minimum period of 15 years to use their contributions as collateral to access mortgage loans. Does it mean that regardless of when you started working, once you hit 50, I mean, what?
Yeah, so when the pass credit, pass credit is a lump sum that is managed by SNIT, and it's for those who contributed into the scheme before January 2010. So anybody who contributed to SNIT before January 2010 has some lump sum in there. So that is what the NDC is promising, that, look, once you hit age 50, we are making that payable. You can decide, to apply for the benefit and it will be paid to you.
Of course, at your own risk. If you take it.
No, that is a very good policy.
No, I'm saying that at your own risk, in the sense that, of course, you can't eat your cake and have it. So if you go for a lump sum at that time, then it means some things will not be available to you later, right?
No, lump sum is under the 3-tier pension system. Your lump sum will be taken care of by the tier 2.
Okay.
But this is just a component of a lump sum that is managed by SNIT when you retire. At this point, it is paid when you retire. And they are saying that, look, the distribution of the benefit on the timeline is so skewed towards the end of life. And I understand, when you take life expectancy in Ghana, which is currently standing at 65, then you look at worker mortality statistics, you realize that this is a very prudent one. It is going to improve the social and economic well-being of workers nearing retirement. And look, Ben, let's do some numbers over here. They are saying accommodate or pay past credit lump sum to workers who are age 50 years and above. This particular policy, if implemented, is going to affect more than 1 million workers across this country. And let's take the first 4 years. From 2025 up to 2025, over 650,000 workers are likely to benefit from this particular policy. So if this is implemented, what it means is that we are going to have 502,000 workers who will be qualifying from in 2025. Such lump sum will be paid to such people once you apply for the benefit. And as I said, 2 things: you must be 50 years and you must have contributed into the scheme before January 2010. And once that happens, you can walk to Senate and apply for your benefit, and the lump sum will be paid to you. If you look at, the distribution, as I said, the distribution of, benefit on the timeline, it is so skewed towards the end of life. So it is important that you are able to access some of the benefits at a certain point in time.
Sweetie, there's an interesting point that comes to mind, because as he talks about workers, there's what, about 10 million, 9 point something million in the working bracket. If you even look at our life expectancy, pegged at 65.17 years, then it means that, yes, it makes some sense to get your money early, because you don't even know whether you'll be hitting
and that is why
65 years.
I'm tying the life expectancy with the mortality statistics of workers. I'm not talking about pensioner mortality. I'm talking about a lot of workers die.
Yeah. I mean, if this is the general, then it means that workers also fall within that bracket.
Exactly. So here we are talking about workers, so we are not talking about pensioners.
Yeah.
The policy is said that once you hit age 50, you can go and apply for that component of your benefit and receive it in the form of a lump sum.
I see.
Right.
That is what it is.
The slide is gone, but I wanted us to talk about cocoa farmers, because we're very specific over there, and then maybe we can look at the investments of the funds and all that. But let me find that here. So the NPP says the National Cocoa Farmers Pension Scheme Initiative, and they're going to undertake a mop-up exercise to enroll cocoa farmers missed in the ongoing enrollment exercise. I know cocoa is a big deal for us in this country, and we cannot leave out the cocoa farmers. For me, it's just a question of whatever they're promising, is it what we need? So is this what we need?
Yeah, so basically, any policy that is targeting the informal sector worker is very, very, very important. But what we need to look at is that if any initiative will fail if it is not backed by its own legislation. In fact, the International Social Security Association, the International Labour Organization, they have described widely the informal sector worker as a difficult to cover group. So what they are saying is that if you want to really bring in the results, what you have to do would be to create their own legislation, and the legislation would have to take the special needs of the informal sector worker. Their needs are different from the formal sector workers.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So if you are building a legislation that is not looking at their own needs and their peculiar situation, definitely it's going to fail. That is why the SNIT seed program is not getting the traction that
But this is specific, is it not?
Yeah, so let's look at the national
It's very specific.
So that is why I'm saying that anything to do with the informal sector worker is a very good one. But particularly on this one, I think I have a few questions. Under which law is it operating? We don't know under which law the National Cocoa Farmers Pension Scheme is operating. We don't know who the administrator is, because certainly it's not SNIT. And yes, exactly. It's not SNIT. And the last time I heard, it was MPRA that was the administrator. We can't have a situation like that, because you can't have the
National Pensions
Regulatory Authority
itself.
Exactly. You can't have a situation like that where the regulator is the same administrator. So those are questions. What are the benefits and financing provisions? How many years do you have to contribute to qualify for a particular benefit? What are the benefits available under this particular scheme? What are the financing situations? At what rate are they contributing? There are a lot of questions we have to ask about the National Cocoa Farmers Pension Scheme. Is it contributory or non-contributory? What are the qualifying conditions for benefit? How is it financed? This particular one, all these questions that I'm asking are shrouded in secrecy, and it's not, transparency is completely lacking in this case. So
what can both of them, because they both talk about similar structures when it comes to cocoa farmers, what can they do to make this thought better? Because while we look at whose options are better, we want the national option, even if it means fusing their two ideas together. Yeah. We don't want an NPP plan and NDC plan. We want a Ghana plan. Okay, what can they do to better these?
Yeah, so we can take very good examples from Côte d'Ivoire in 2020. We can take a very good example from Egypt in 2020, Morocco in 2020, Nigeria in 2019, and Zambia in 2019. And these countries, I can go on and on, but one thing they did that informed the success that they are chalking as far as extending social security to the informal sector is that they built separate legislation that took into consideration the peculiar, circumstance of the informal sector worker. They created separate legislations for them. And if you come
separate
to
legislation,
it doesn't come under Act 760. And I'm saying that when I talk about legislation, you are looking at the benefit provisions, how it's going to be financed. At what point can they take benefit? What are the qualifying conditions? You have to have a separate legislation for these people. And the NDC talked about the money year. So here, they are talking about, I don't know whether they have mentioned in there that it's going to be a separate legislation. I think that kind of gives us a national picture. That is giving us more of a national picture. The only thing that is missing in there, I'm not very sure whether they have mentioned they are going to create a separate legislation for this group. But if that is done, then I'm sure NDC should have a very good, plan. Let's come here, using 10% of the annual tax payments as contributions.
That's the MPP, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the MSMEs. Is that what you're talking about?
There are so many ways, you can encourage or you can support informal sector, workers. But certainly using tax as contributions or treating tax as contribution for, social security financing, it's not only complicated, but it's going to violate the long-standing belief that social security benefits might be financed through well-defined and earmarked contributions.
What's the complication there?
So here you are talking about taking 10% of tax, your annual tax, and paying social security. It is very, very, very complicated. You are moving from one, state institution to the other. Of course, there are provisions in the Act 760 that tells you that 5.5% of the employee benefit, of the employee salary should be deducted. The employer should add 13%. That is clear cut. Now, if you are now digging your hand somewhere, it could be very, 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 very complicated.
But it's still taxing, though, isn't it? What they're taking right now from us as workers is tax. What they are adding to it...
It's not tax.
It's not, you don't call it tax.
We don't call it tax. It's only in certain jurisdictions that you find it, you find that they call it tax, but it's not actual tax.
Not actually tax.
The tax doesn't come back to you in any form, exactly. But at the end of the day, when we are talking about contribution, contribution is returned to you in the form of benefit.
For the sake of time, I want us to breeze through some of them. When there's talk about mortgages, you know, using this in the sense of mortgages, how feasible is that? And then let's also look at when the NPP talks about legislative reform. You've already spoken about having separate legislations for some things. Let's look at those two areas quickly.
Yeah, so the NPP has mentioned, you know, using tier 2 contributions to, you know, as a collateral to secure mortgage for primary residents. The NDC has also mentioned something like that. For me, that is no-brainer for both political parties.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer because it is clearly stated in Section 103(2) of the Act 766 that it's stipulated in the Act that the worker can use his tier 2 contributions as a collateral, you know, to secure mortgage for, you know, what do they call, primary residence. It's clearly in there, so what is left is just implementation. And I remember in 2016, the NPP did indicate that it was going to implement fully Section 103(2) of the Act 760, which is referring to that.
What has happened to that?
That has not happened. And I can tell you that as we speak, the National Pension Regulatory Authority has not developed the guidelines for the implementation of that particular section.
Which means, as of now, it is not implementable.
After 16 years of implementation of the Act 766.
Wow.
So all they need to do is to develop. So I think I would have been very, very okay if they said the next NPP or the next NDC administration is going to develop the policy guidelines for the implementation of Section 103(2) of the Act 766. That is detailed, direct, concise, and it's relatable. It's something you can relate to. But this is something that is supposed to be implemented. It has been there since 2010. We are here, and it has still not been implemented, and we keep repeating it in the manifestos. All we need to do is to go into action, develop the policy guidelines, and implement.
Well, the recent Afrobarometer report did not include SNITs as one of the state institutions that have lost trust. But we know that SNIT has come under a lot of controversy. By the intervention of organized labor, that sale of 60% stake in those 4 hotels would have been. So the question is, how can we as contributors, citizens, hold SNIT accountable in terms of management or investment of these funds that are ours? That would be my final bit.
Yeah, you can only do that through your, labor unions, through the labor union. And that is where they represent, the workforce. So if you don't have a very effective labor union, then everybody will be in trouble. Everybody is going to be in trouble. If you go to other jurisdictions, most of the time, I keep saying that the labor unions, in terms of research, they go ahead the institutions themselves. So you would, of
course, they are protecting their interests.
Exactly. At the level of the worker, you have very little to do if you don't have a very strong labor union representing your interests.
It falls on labor union.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mashud. Ben?
Thank you.
Well, I mean, we've come to the conclusion of this discussion, and we're only hoping that, I'm sure a lot of them will be watching this morning and taking a cue from some of what we've shared, because in the end, we are not so bothered. Is it an NDC plan, NPP plan? Is it a positive plan? All we know is we want something that will better the Ghanaian employer in terms of... Sure. And you mentioned some of them. Proper payment of adequate benefits, low administrative costs, stronger engagement with the different parties, and non-discrimination, among others. Hopefully, with time, we get that. Sweetie?
Mr. Abdallah Mashud is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Retirement Research, and he joins us to put in perspective the various promises from the 2 major political parties, NDC and NPP, in terms of pensions or contributions to social security. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's still a lot coming your way on the AM show. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. And now let's talk about the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair. 2024 happening at the Accra International Conference Center on the 30th, from the 30th of October 2024 to the 2nd of November. Each day it begins at 8 a.m. And we have some of our exhibitors, sponsors. We've been engaging them in the build-up to the grand day. And so this morning we have Delphina Boahima from Yoben Security Doors, and she's a member of the sales and she's a sales and a marketing executive. We also have Bright Atta, he's part of the marketing team for DPS Pipes. Bright, we've had a conversation before, so I want to start with Delphina. Delphina, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm fantastic. So introduce us to Yoben Security Doors.
Okay. So briefly, Yoben Security Doors is actually one of the best security doors company in Ghana. We've been in existence for about 2 decades. And we deal in top tier and luxurious security doors, Turkish and Italian models to be precise. And then we have the best services ever. We have various sizes and dimensions and designs when it comes to our doors. We have the single doors. Even with the single doors, we have it in various sizes. We have the 3 feet exactly for those whose dimensions are a bit smaller. And then we have the 3 feet 4 inches, and then we have 3 feet 7 inches.
So whatever your dimensions are, Yoben Security Doors will give it to you.
Right.
You have everything.
Right.
Right. Let me come to you now. DPS Pipes. Yeah. We know you, but tell us, for the benefit of those who are just watching us for the first time, what do you do?
DPS Pipes is into the production or manufacturing of PVC pipes, UPVC pipes, HDPE pipes, PPR pipes. Yes, and we have been in existence for less than a decade, but yes, we have our name in the market.
Yeah. So everywhere you hear DPS, you know the best pipes on the market. Now you've both been part of the mini circles, from Achimota to Tema, and now it's time for us to get into the big fair proper. But what has been your experience so far, Delphina, of the mini fairs, and before we go to our expectations for the main fair?
I think the Habitat Fair is a big platform, one of the biggest platforms to showcase what we have. And with Yoben, we are protecting life and properties. So it was a good experience. We had a lot of people to reach out to help them protect their lives and properties as we're doing out there.
Okay.
So yeah, it was
encouraging. We're looking forward to the next fair. Right. What has been your experience for all the mini clinics, mini clinics for the Habitat Fair so far?
Yeah, it's a privilege to be part of the mini clinic. The reason is that we have had experience that a lot of people don't understand the piping system. Yes, and that is where DPS Pipes comes in. We offered a lot of education onto the processes and the types of pipes you needed to complete your project, making it a home. Yeah, so it was an important and a vital experience for us.
Okay, so come the 30th of October, which is just days away, and the expectations that we all have to get a house and make it a home. What are you, or what are our audience and participants to expect from you, Yoben Security Doors and DPS Pipes? I'll start with you, Delphina. What should we expect from you from the 30th to the 2nd?
So best customer service, and then education. Education being said, people don't really understand the types of security doors we have on the market, being the materials that was used in making it, or anything that comes with it. So we are out there to educate people, to let them know that, yeah, we do have security doors out there, but we have types.
Okay.
We have security doors, and then we have the top tier one that will protect your properties, and wouldn't like you to settle for less. So we want to educate people what they have to do, even before the need arises, or you think the need arises for a security door.
Security door. Fantastic. So even if you're not in the market looking for a door, just come and get educated. They say if you want to buy Benz, you start by asking what the prices are. Right. What about you? What should our attendees, participants expect from DPS Pipes from the 30th of October to the 2nd of November?
Yes. With DPS Pipes, safety is a priority. That is what our name implies. DPS, durable, premium quality, and safe pipes. So for you to have a good home or a house, making it a home, you need safe water. and you need to buy safe pipes to have safe water, because water is life. And with our motto, we are connecting you to life. So come through to our fair. We'll give you enough education on the processes you need to go through when ensuring that you have quality water at home. Not just quality water, but also a good sewage system. Your drainage system must be durable, must be strong. And then with DPS pipes, you are rest assured. So come, we'll give you a guideline.
And the interesting thing about this year's Habitat Fair is the happy hour. I don't know if you know this, but you know the traffic jam sometimes between 5 to 8 thereabouts. We've decided to give you happy hour. Stop by from 6 to 9 p.m. anytime you want to get off and have a drink on us. You know, while you shop, you look around and see everything that you need to get a house and make it a home. We care about you. We're bringing you all the organizations and businesses that also care about your safety and security. So there you have it. Avoid the rush hour for the happy hour. Don't forget, 30th of October to the 2nd of November 2024 at the Accra International Conference Center. It's the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair 2024. In the studio with me this morning, we had Delphina Boahima from Yoben Security Doors. She's Sales and Marketing Executive. And we also have Bright Atta, Marketing. He's part of the marketing team for DPS Pipes, and we'll be seeing you from Wednesday to Saturday. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ryan.
Right. So we still have a lot of conversations coming your way this morning, so you want to stay glued to this channel. We'll be right back in a bit. Well, like I said earlier, we are engaging our exhibitors, our sponsors, and generally anyone who's coming to the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair to offer you the best deals so that you can get a house and make it a home. In this box of conversation, we have Patrick Bono, who is Sales and Marketing from Syntex Containers Ghana Limited. And we also have Esther Abuajiwa, Acting Deputy Manager for the Sales, Marketing and Communications team for Virtual Security Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Patrick, we've had a conversation, so I'll skip straight to Esther. Esther, you're wearing my favorite color.
Oh.
You look very beautiful.
Thank you. Look
so
good to you.
Introduce yourself to us and tell us about Virtual Security Africa.
All right. So Virtual Security Africa, we are a wholly owned Ghanaian company that has been in the security industry for a very long time, 16 years, and we are almost hitting 17. And for this period, we have always provided top-notch security solutions ranging from perimeter detection, intrusion detections, and surveillance systems. So with these solutions I've mentioned, it's mainly we are designers and installers and of CCTV, we have fire alarm, intruder alarm, access control, time and attendance. We have electric fencing, and beyond that, we have road blockers. We do asset tracking. We have vehicle bomb barriers, like anything you talk of security within a space or let's say a property. That is what you do. Maybe.
Okay, fantastic. I'll come back to you in a bit. Patrick,
Yes.
I know that Syntex tank, tough, strong,
yes.
and no be any tank be tank. Syntex be the correct tank.
Yeah,
How
right.
is it going? You've been with us for a really long time now, and I know you were at the mini fairs, the mini EcoBank Habitat Fair, mini clinics that we had from Achimota to Tema and the rest. What has been your experience so far?
Well, so far, the exhibition that we attended to get us exposed to a lot of people. And we can see people are hearing the good news about Syntex tank.
Yeah.
And then it's affecting ourselves actually. Because when you
In
have...
a good way?
In a good
Yeah.
way, yes. When you have quality products, and then first person test it, it will go a long way to the last person. So we are about to be a household name in Ghana.
I thought you already were a household name in Ghana.
Yes, we
But
are
you know-
always
yeah.
wishing for the best. So
Yes. Always aim higher.
Yeah.
So for the benefit of those who are just experiencing you or watching us for the very first time, what is Syntex tank? What makes you unique? I know you are the first to introduce inner double layer tanks, white color. You tell us all about that.
Well, we started operating about 30 years ago, and then we specialize in producing water storage tank, as you already know. And then we don't produce only water storage tank. We have other products such as road barrier, traffic cone, and plastic pallets. We introduce a double layers tank for household use. And then we have multiple layers as well for industrial purposes. White inner layer tanks is there to help in easy cleaning. And then we have 7 years warranty. And in the tank industry, we are the only people having 7 years warranty against factory defect.
Fantastic. So Esther, consider the number of people who will be turning up from the 30th of October to the 2nd of November at the Accra International Conference Center. Don't forget, you have to be there. Do you have any special packages, any discounts, any mouth-watering prizes that our participants should be looking forward to?
Okay, yes, we do. So our main goal in this industry and this business is to make sure that almost every household in the country is secured. And because of this, we are overlooking whatever it's in the economy, inflation, whatever. We are bringing good deals to the doorsteps of Ghanaians. And we are giving a whopping 20% discount on all our products, being it all our products. So being it the CCTV, fire alarm, intruder alarm, access control, anything I've mentioned here, we are giving 20% discount on that. And then again, we are also giving free gadgets on some selected items. So if you purchase any of our CCTV camera packages, we are giving you a free GSM alarm system or a video intercom. That is for free. And then we are giving payment plans as well. We understand people, not everybody can buy upfront and pay upfront. So you can do a certain percentage commitment. We'll get the installation done for you, and we spread the rest for up to 3 to 6 months.
Wow, mouth-watering indeed.
Exactly.
I need to start building fast so that I can come to you to give me all the security apparatus. Patrick, what about you? Any discounts, any prizes? Oh, you are giving away one free polytank in a draw. My bad.
Our brand is Syntex Tank.
Beg your pardon. One free Syntex tank to one lucky winner. Tell us about that.
So as we always do when people pass by our stand, one person will get a chance to win free tank, and then we'll deliver to the person's house. And aside that, on that day we are displaying our products, including the year to launch pipes. We will soon have a Syntex pipe in the market. We'll be launching that one very soon. And when you pass by on that day, you have a chance to watch the various pipes that we'll be producing.
Are you looking forward to the happy hour? Do you know about the happy hour? Let me tell you about the happy hour. So all our participants, we know that there's a lot of traffic jam, especially midweek towards the weekend from 5 thereabouts. And we've created a special activity for you called the happy hour. So avoid the rush hour. Just come to the Accra International Conference Center from the 30th to the 30th October to 2nd November. And spend some time, have a drink on us, and interact with all these brands who are offering you all these mouth-watering prizes and discounts and goodies. So it's the happy hour. Hopefully, I'll be seeing you there so that we can get to know you more. Even if you're not coming to buy anything, just come and get educated, right? So I'll give you 30 seconds, 1 minute each to give us your final word. Invite our audience to join us directly. Patrick, let me start with you.
Well, we expect more people to pass by, to have a chance to watch what we have. And also, if you are lucky, you may be a winner. And aside that, we have dealers all over the country. And anybody who wants to be our dealer, our doors are open. Yes. And then if you want to reach us, you reach us on 0244 33 51 68 or Syntex Ghana. That is on social media. You want to shop directly, you can go to syntexga.com.
And it's Syntex tank. Syntex, a strong, a tough. And it's SINTEX. Syntex. Not be any tank, be tank. The correct tank, the Syntex tank. So you don't miss it at the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair. What about you, Esther? Final words.
Okay, so I'm entreating everybody to come through this fair from tomorrow till the weekend. And at Virtual Security Africa, we say one thing: we'll beat the advertised price of any security product of comparable quality. So if you think you found one in the market that matches a quality, just come with the price and let you have it.
It's the confidence for me.
Oh yes,
so you will beat any price.
Any price that matches our quality.
Right.
Just come.
I like
we'll beat
that.
the price and let you have it. Like I said, the goal is to make sure that every household, almost every household in this country, is secured. Okay. Yes, and then we are in Accra. Our main showroom is at Jowlu, opposite UBA, first floor, Nana Depa Plaza, and our office is at Tesano behind Alive Chapel. We are in Kumasi, Santasi Roundabout, opposite the Gold Filling Station. Our newly opened Kumasi showroom is also at Santasi TUC Junction. Okay. Takrady, we are off the Kintampo Road, very close to Toyota Ghana Limited. We are on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, format Twitter, our Virtual Security Africa. Our website, www.virtualsecurityafrica.com. You can call us on 055-874-0764, 055-874-0764.
And I cannot let you leave here, Patrick, without reminding our audience about the Syntex free water giveaway. You have to nominate your community, but he's here. Tell us about that.
So currently we are in collaboration with Giovanni Calip, and then we are reaching out to community with water crisis, and we are donating water. And then we've been to Nima, and then we donated 45,000 liters of water to Nima people. We went to Teshi, and then we did the same thing. And to be a participant, you have to go to our social media, Syntex Ghana. You write your community's name, and then we have a team that will screen. If you qualify, you'll be part. We are not just doing it in Accra. We are going outside Accra to do the donation as well.
Okay.
But we do that to remind our people that in terms of storing water, the only tank in Ghana to store water is Syntex tank.
And to say Akbenami, thank you so much for being with us. Syntex tank, the only and proper and #1 tank on the market. Abigail, you wanted to say something in 20 seconds. I'll allow it. We have to go.
Okay, Esther. Yeah.
Esther.
All right, so we are launching our body cameras. We have a new product on the market, and we are launching it soon. So I want to use this opportunity to let people know that we are launching it very soon, so they should anticipate security services, private security companies, and anybody that will be in need of body cameras. And we can even surprise you and launch it during the fair.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Virtual Security Africa, everything security. And she says that they will beat any price on the market that matches their quality. So be there at the 2024 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. The main fair, this is from October 30th to November 2nd at Accra International Conference Center. And don't forget the happy hour, guys. I'll be there, so come and let's have a drink together. Thank you so much for joining us. In the studio with me, we had Esther Abuajiwa, the Acting Deputy Manager for Sales, Marketing and Communications Team for Virtual Security Africa, as well as Patrick Bono from the Sales and Marketing Team for Syntex Containers Ghana Limited. And don't forget that free water giveaway to say thank you. You can go to their social media handles, as well as Virtual Security Africa, who may or may not be launching their body cams at the event. We take a short break and we return with more. After that, what more can I say, huh? If you've not been watching or if you've not been following the National Science and Maths Quiz, you're missing out on something huge. The conversation is all over the place. And of course, the grand finale is coming to you on Wednesday. You should be on the lookout. It's between Keta Senior High Technical, Infante Pim School, and St. Augustine's College. Don't ask me about Presec because they're out. And let's get into a conversation with some of our sponsors for the National Science and Maths Quiz for this year, 2024. In the studio with me this morning is Hilda Naoyokote. She's a sales executive for Chopbox Technologies. And then we have Benjamin Tando, sales manager for Built Financial Technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Before you even introduce us to your brands, which of these three schools are you supporting? Is it Keta Senior High Technical, St. Augustine's, or Infante Pim? Hilda?
Well, we Chopbox, we believe in critical students that are critical thinkers. So, yeah, the ones that are critical thinking.
Those are the ones you support.
Yeah.
What about you, Benjamin?
I see.
Who are you supporting?
Highly pivoted to Augustine's College because I'm an Adisco boy myself, so they should represent the the region.
In that case, let me be the only one here supporting Keta Seniors, just because I come from Wagbuzu. Anyway, let's get into a conversation. Let me start with this, ladies first. Introduce us to Chopbox Technologies. Although we've learned a lot about you, a convenient way to buy and sell, especially serving young people in schools and all that. Tell us, what do you really do?
So when we say Chopbox Technologies, we are an online platform that provides convenient services to students and parents, whereby parents don't have to go through the hassle in getting provisions or anything for the awards at school. And we are the first company that provided the plastic chop box, which it used to be plastic chop box, but now we have brought the new plastic one, very durable, that is called plastic school box.
In fact, it's implied in the name. Once you hear chop box, all you hear is that, I mean, of course, you brought in a refined plastic one, but you hear chop box technologies, your mind straight goes to that wooden box with all your goodies in there, with a locker that you can keep safe because you don't want anyone stealing your shit and all that. So I think it's great that you've transformed what we used to know as chop box into this technology, helping people shop conveniently. Let's come to Belt Financial Technologies Africa. I know Belt Accounting, and we're just having a chat, but tell us about it, Benjamin. What is Belt Financial Technologies Africa?
Right, thank you very much. So Belt Financial Technologies is an accounting software firm. So what we've done is we've built a business software, everything from scratch here in Ghana, to serve small, medium enterprises. Now we are even expanding to serve large enterprises as well. Now, what happens is when you sign onto the software, you are able to track your income with invoices. You are able to record expenses. If you are someone who is into products, you are able to track your inventory very easily with the software. Most of the things that you see, highly automated. If you are in the medium sector, your medium enterprise, you have employees and payroll is a hassle for you. We have a payroll feature in the software that automatically calculates PAYE slate, tier 2, even tier 3, gives you a summary of reports, and then give you the necessary reports that you have to use for your statutory filings.
In sum, everything you need an accountant or a finance person in your organization for, you provide solutions for all those.
Yes, we do that. And then on top of everything that I've mentioned, the software automatically prepares financial reports for you. So income statements, balance sheets, statement of cash flows, everything, even down to trial balances. Yeah.
And I know Hilda was just telling us that she supports critical thinkers, and that's why you are on board the National Science and Maths Quiz. But I'll come back to you in a bit. Benjamin, why are you on as sponsors for the 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz? What's the inspiration there?
Thank you. So for, you know, science and technology move hand in hand, right? So we are investing in tomorrow's leaders today. For the people or the students who are representing their schools, it takes a lot. It takes courage, it takes leadership, it takes a lot of brain acumen to be able to do that. So we are investing in the National Science and Maths Quiz in hopes that these children will complete schools, pick up good careers in science and technology, and then probably would employ a few of them after school.
Okay, Hilda, so tell me about your critical thinking in coming on board as a sponsor for the National Science and Maths Quiz. You're just looking for critical thinkers.
So, you know, we Chopbox, we believe in the importance of education because it has a big role in shaping good future leaders. So, yes, that is why I said that way we can provide what? Critical thinkers. So that is what we are looking out for.
So all these students who've been in a competition from the 1/8 stage, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and now we're looking forward to the grand finale on Wednesday. What is that unique, what are you looking for? What are your expectations from these students, especially those 3 schools who are going to the grand finale? What are your expectations?
Well, our expectation is to inspire young minds.
Okay. Benjamin, what about you? What are your expectations, especially coming to Wednesday, the grand finale? What are your expectations?
Right. So first of all, my expectation is for Augustus to win. Then secondly, I'm looking at what the kids are going to bring on board, right? How they are going to handle the questions, how they are going to handle the pressure, how they are going to handle the whole thing, how it's going to go. To see, okay, 1, 2, 3, maybe these guys, we can sponsor them maybe for school next year and all of that.
Okay, so you're looking for some sharp brains to push further.
Yes.
Well, I wish you all the very best. I'll allow 30 seconds each to speak directly to our audience. If you have any message that we haven't really touched on yet, you get the chance to do that. I'll start with you, Hilda.
Okay, so like I said, we brought the plastic school box that came to clear the wooden one that was giving bed bugs. Yes. So we are looking that there was a little bit throwback. There was a little bit throwback, which has delayed a little bit in deliveries. So we have collaborated with all the schools across the country, whereby parents should have a little bit of patience for us. Okay. Our boxes are in production, which are coming this week.
Okay.
So by next week, boxes will be out there in every school. So let's say they are in school, we are going to send it to their school. So even when they are home, we also send it to them in home. So we have collaborated with FedEx. So parents don't have to stress about the deliveries and all that. We deliver to them at schools. Okay. And about our provisions as well, like I said, they don't have to go through the hassle, whereby you go to the market and have to send it through buses and all of that. We send it through FedEx, and they will receive it at their school. Convenience.
Gone are the days where your parents will send you shit off by bus. You have to go and stay at the bus station and wait for God knows how long just so that you can get one bottle of shit off. If you're in that category, Chopbox Technologies has the solution for that stress. You have the final word, Benjamin.
Thank you very much. So to our viewers, if you are watching me right now, we have the software that is ready for you. If you're a business owner, you've been struggling with your finances, you are trying to get loans, but you don't have the financial reports for that, you need our software. In addition to that, we have the virtual accountancy service. You are a medium-sized business that you realize you need an in-house accountant, but you can't pay for a full-time accountant. We present the virtual accountant for you at a price that would shock you, okay? Now, as you're watching me, just go to www.built.africa and sign up for a free 20% discount on all our yearly packages, up to 500 cedis off. In addition to that, kindly call this number 030-804-0007, 030-804-0007. And then finally, follow us on social media.
That there is Benjamin Tando, Sales Manager for Built Financial Technologies. We also had Hilda Naoyokote, Sales Executive for Chopbox Technologies, all part of our sponsors for this year's National Science and Maths Quiz. And the grand finale is happening on Wednesday. Catch all the details right here on the Joy News channel. And the contest is between Keta Senior High Technical, Infante Pim School, and St. Augustine's College.
Yes.
They're battling for that trophy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, we are not done yet. There's still more coming your way. We'll be back in a bit. We are still on the National Science and Maths Quiz, and let's engage some more sponsors. And in the studio with me this morning is Mr. Justice Nanevi, the head of technical for Ace Medical Insurance. And guess who's come back to join us again? It's Esther Wajiwa in her lovely yellow dress. Because, of course, Virtual Security Africa is also a sponsor for the National Science and Maths Quiz. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome again to you. So who are you supporting? The contest is between Keta Senior High Technical, St. Augustine's College, and Infante Pim School. So where are you?
Okay, Infante Pim School.
Infante Pim School?
Yes. And the reason I don't want to say it on TV.
No problem. What about you, Justin?
I'm a proud Blow boy. But
did you cry?
Oh, I didn't cry.
Okay.
I mean, there ceases to be hope when you stop trying, right? So we'll keep trying every year, and then one day we'll get it.
That's a very honest response. But let's get into Ace Medical Insurance. Tell us a bit about that. What do you do?
Okay, so Ace Medical Insurance is into healthcare financing, essentially. And when we talk about healthcare financing, it's either third-party administration or health insurance. Now, a lot of us are more familiar with the health insurance, right? So when we talk about health insurance, private health insurance. We offer packages to corporate organizations, to large groups and associations, also to families. So that's basically what Ace Medical Insurance does.
Okay. And Esther, you already told us about security and everything security, from CCTV, from DPS, fire alarm, all of those things.
Alarms, yeah.
Why are you sponsoring the National Science and Maths Quiz this year?
Okay, thank you very much. So Virtual Security Africa, the company I represent, falls under the bigger umbrella of Virtual Africa Group, with our sister company, Virtual InfoSec Africa, that is VIA. VIA is like one of the topmost designers, developers, and providers of information security and cybersecurity services in the country, whereas Virtual Security Africa provides integrated electronic security solutions. So looking at our background in the industry, we are very passionate about promoting scientific education. You know, we believe there's power in science, which influence society in the field of medicine, engineering, technology, where we are like our prime business. So that's the reason why we decided to support NSMQ, because mind you, these are engineers, technical people, IT experts all growing up. So that's the reason we
Have you been impressed so far?
Oh yes, I have been impressed. And my alma mater, Konogo Dumasi Senior High School, shout out to all of them. Oh yes, we were also part, but we're kicked off in the 1/8 stage by Bishop Herman. Yeah. Next year we are coming strong and better.
I believe you. I believe you so much, Esther. How about you, Justice? I mean, you've been part of the competition from the beginning, 1/8 stage, all the way to quarterfinals. Now we are preparing for the main, the grand finale on Wednesday. Yeah. What has been your impression of the quiz this year?
I think it has been very competitive, as always. I've been very much impressed about how the students have gone about their studies and how they've answered the questions. Was a bit surprised Presec was taken out, because after Akraka left, I was rooting for Presec. I have a lot of friends who are Presecans. But when they were taken out, now I've shifted my allegiance to Kecha.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Because that's who I'm supporting.
Oh, okay.
Yes, wow. So much.
So I'm hoping coming Wednesday, they'll win the grand prize.
Wow. Okay. What are your expectations, though, in terms of the grand finale, in terms of the quality of the quiz this year, in terms of students' expectations, even in terms of you as a sponsor coming on board to offer unique, fresh perspective onto this National Science and Maths Quiz? In total, what would be that unique selling proposition or expectation for you?
Okay, so the final is going to be very competitive, right? You're expecting it to be competitive. Looking at the schools that are there, they've done very well to get there. They are all winners, right, by virtue of the fact that they are in the finals. However, unfortunately, there is going to be just one champion. So we are hoping they all put up a good fight, like we've seen them done at the various stages to where they've gotten to. As a sponsor as well, I mean, Ace Medical Insurance, we are into healthcare financing. You can't separate healthcare, right, from science and technology. So we've done this in terms of this partnership with NSMQ. We've done it for the past 3 to 4 years. It's something we hope to continue doing in the years ahead, right, to support a good cause. But at the same time, we know how far-reaching NSMQ is, right? So you are supporting a good cause, and at the same time, you are getting your brand up there.
Right. Esther, before we go, what would be the message from Virtual Security Africa and the other brands to the students, especially those in the contest, you know, on the for the final stage on Wednesday? What's the message from this brand?
Okay, so I have a message for the contestants, the students, and old students of these schools as well.
Let's hear it.
So we are sending hugs to the contestants in this competition. My company as a whole, we are not taking stands. We are just wishing them well. And like I said, we believe in the power of science, and we believe in their capabilities, what these contestants can do after school. So we're wishing them all the best in this competition. And the message to the old students of these schools, not just those who have qualified, but all the schools that have competed. You see, giving back to your school, giving back to society is one thing that we preach about all the time. As we've come out of these institutions, these schools have helped, shaped us, groomed us into who we are today. And treating all students to look back to the school. Come to Virtual Security Africa. We can strike a deal with you and provide security solutions for your school, just as people do with water and with their dormitories, helping them with all facilities and all, come to Virtual Security Africa. We'll strike a deal with you and give you security solutions for your school. Thank you so much, Esther Boajua. Esther, as an individual, is supporting Infantepim, but the company is not taking sides. No, thank you. We also have Justice Nanevi, Head of Technical for ACE Medical Insurance. Esther is the Acting Deputy Manager for the Sales, Marketing and Communications team for Virtual Security Africa, and they're all sponsors for the National Science and Maths Quiz. Thank you so much. We're still not done yet. There's more coming your way. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back. So now the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, Christian Council of Ghana, and National Association of Charismatic Christian Churches and the Office of the National Chief Imam present Peace Campaign on the theme, Let Peace Prevail. And we have a quotation here from Matthew 5:9. But in the studio with me to put this in perspective, Apostle Dr. Samuel Gakpato. He's area head for the Church of Pentecost for Agomenya area. Thank you so much for coming, Apostle. Tell us briefly about this peace campaign and what the significance of it.
Right. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Ghana is going to the general elections on December 7, 2024. And no matter who wins, we want to see Ghana stand as one nation. And so the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Churches, together with the National Association of Charismatic Christian Churches, and then even the Office of the Chief Imam, are coming together and bringing all stakeholders together to commit ourselves to the process of peace during the electioneering time. We are scheduled to have it on the 3rd of November. It's a Sunday at 2 p.m. at the forecourt of the State House. Okay. We're inviting every member of the Christian community and the Islamic community to join us for this campaign.
And tell us who will be speaking at this event.
Right, so the event is bringing key stakeholders. So we are going to have the Electoral Commission herself being there. We'll also have the representative of the Security Councils, most likely the IGP speaking. Okay. And of course, we'll have the clergy speaking, and then most likely we'll have the president of the nation also there to speak to us. But significantly, we'll also have the flag bearers, the presidential candidates of the various political parties standing with us on that day.
Fantastic. And this is happening on Sunday, the 3rd of November, 2024 at 2 p.m. at the forecourt of the State House. In about 30 seconds, I want you to speak directly to our audience and tell them or invite them to come and witness this peace campaign.
Right. Peace is an essential commodity. Ghana has been touted as a very peaceful country in the West African sub-region. We have gone through this election process for close to about 7. This is the 8th time we go in there. And it's important that we all, by the grace of God, hold on to the value of peace. Indeed, what makes this election a little bit challenging is the religious aspect that comes with it. The Islam and the Muslim aspect. But, I mean, Islam and then the Christian. But this is not a religious contest. Election is not a religious contest. It is a contest of ideas and who God is leading to lead our country. And therefore, we are asking all Ghanaians to profess peace, to act in peace, and to ensure that peace prevails during the 2024 general elections.
Fantastic.
But we are expecting you to be at the forecourt of the State House on 3rd November at 2 p.m. to celebrate this peace, to sing about this peace, to pray about this peace, and to commit to this peace for a peaceful election.
This is great. So this is the 2024 Peace Campaign. Thank you so much, Apostle Dr. Samuel Gakpato. He's area head for the Church of Pentecost for the Agomenya area. And this is the Peace Campaign. Do well to attend. It's on Sunday, 2 p.m. at the forecourt of State House. And let's get ready for a peaceful election 2024. Thank you so much for coming, Apostle.
Thank you.
All right. One more, and then we are done for the day. We'll be back in a bit. How seriously do you take your mental health? Joining me in the studio this morning is Dr. Cherish Tegabo to put in perspective to us how to master stress at work. Doc, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So tell us, as briefly as possible, the importance of this mental health campaign and the theme, what it seeks to speak to.
Right. So I've worked in the preventive health space for a number of years, including time I've spent with the Centers for Disease Control. And we realized that 80% of people who are dying from preventive causes. So one of the frustrating things for me as a doctor is when you're managing clients and they are not getting better. Now, the preventive diseases are the chronic diseases. We're talking about hypertension, diabetes, and so on and so forth. And we realize that we can't optimize our outcomes if we're not looking at the real causes for why these diseases are on the rise. And at the center of it is stress. The center of it is mental health. And so this year, I'm the director for medical services at Erama Medical, a group of companies called the Eramano Group.
Okay.
And we started an NGO that is basically set to make sure that we are finding ways and means to support people, to support businesses with the preventive health. We partnered with Mental Pulse Africa this year, and we're making a lot of noise about mental health.
This is fantastic, and it's happening on the 30th of October at 12 p.m. That's tomorrow, 12 p.m. prompt. Where exactly is this happening?
So this is happening online.
Okay, so it's virtual.
It's virtual.
Okay.
And we're hoping that every company that's listening to us, every HR person, will just hint to their staff, hey, it's 12 o'clock, let's just spend a few minutes learning about techniques to manage your stress. So we're going to go step by step, just a few minutes to just help you to cope, because you can't take away the stressor. You can't fire your boss and you can't quit your job, but you have to find a way of coping with the things that are bringing you the stress so it doesn't take you into chronic stress, which is where the disease processes set in. So we really need everybody to come on board and just really say, 12 o'clock tomorrow, hey, let's just take a break. Let's just get online. You can go to our social media handles, Erama Medical, ERAMA, and find the flyers on there, or Mental Pulse Africa, and find the flyers and register, because you do need to register.
This is your field, and you've been, going out and about and interacting with people. How seriously do you think we take our mental health as a country?
Well, as a country, not good. Not good. Generally, with preventive medicine, we are way, way, way behind, because we're not at the place where, for example, private insurance or there are policies in place that make sure that you're checking on your health before you see the symptoms. And so the awareness isn't good. As a medical professional, I'm seeing that we have just people losing their lives or getting into like the strokes and the difficult places in medical services or health problems because they're not taking it very seriously. So I don't think we're doing so well. So that's why I'm here.
Which is why you should pay attention to your mental health. Tomorrow at 12 o'clock, just log in. Go to your social media pages and you can find the flyer there and you can scan the code to register. Before we go, is there a number to call as fast as you can?
Yes, 020-2500171.
25500.
2500171. 020-2500171.
Thank you so much. It's a mental health campaign. Dr. Cherish Tegabo is the Director for Medical Services, or Eramano Group. And you can call them and join the Zoom tomorrow to get education on how you can master stress at work. Now, if you want to get in touch with ACE Medical Insurance, they were with us a minute ago. They are sponsors for the National Science and Maths Quiz. Call them on 030-804-0035 or simply go to www.acemedicalinsurance.com to get all the information you need and get in touch with them. Plus, there's happy hour at the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair from the 30th of October to the 2nd of November at the Accra International Conference Center. Don't stress and get in traffic. Come and relax, get a drink. We'll all be there. Let's get interactive and do some shopping to get a house and make it a home. Thank you so much. This is the end of the AM show, the Tuesday edition. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. We're back on your screens tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Stay for Joy News Desk. It's coming up next. Thank you for watching. Mwah.